like post it in front of the Eiffel Tower
like
and
Flat
stuff like
Stanley
that.
Or whatever.
Yeah. I think I'm going to do that with my cyst. I've named it Gene. Gene with a G, male Gene. I don't know. I just kind of like that name. But I'm going to Vegas this weekend. Maybe I'll take it with me in my backpack and post some pictures on the Strip. I'm going to Sphere on Sunday night. What do you think? Gene will be very welcome in Las Vegas, I think.
Gene,
Sue.
I will agree, is a perfect name for it. I do not ever want to see it.
Yeah.
I think TSA won't allow you to get that on a phone.
Oh, they will, because they won't even know that it's there. Although I might have to empty the liquid that it's in because it's in this little jar. So I just mainly wanted to start the show that way just to get Sue's reaction.
Liquid?
Yeah, it's in. Well, look, I can show you. I have it in the other room right now. I have it in a jar, and they put it. Ethan described this quite appropriately yesterday because, it's in a little
how would you describe
formaldehyde
it,
or something. I don't know, something like that, right?
Sue, when I did this yesterday, you almost got sick.
I know.
Oh, that's right. No, I don't want a description of it. How would you describe someone who keeps one's gene in liquid and shows it to people?
Well,
very sick person.
There's a lot of he said it.
Yeah, exactly. No, I just wanted to do that just to see what your reaction would be, Sue. Mainly,
you got it.
I know. I thought I would. Hey, how about that baseball game last night? Now, Fred missed all this because the soccer game was good too. But you were at MJ the musical at the Fox, right?
That's right.
So when I got out, I just heard the post-game show.
Yeah.
So I said, I heard that they won 9-6 in extra innings.
Right.
So quickly I figured out it was a 3-run walk-off homer.
Right. So, Ethan, you might have to walk me through this. All I know is that the Cardinals were winning, and you were there chronicling the Tarps Off kids because that was another thing last night. They were there and did the national anthem and all that. What just fell? Something just fell in the studio. That's not good.
He's got it.
But then you go into the ninth inning, and Riley O'Brien comes in, and I think he walked the first batter. Then he hit the next two batters, and then they end up tying the game, Fred, and we go into extra innings. But, Ivan Herrera in the 10th inning. Here you go. If I can play the audio correctly, which apparently I can't because I don't even know where my audio is anymore. Here it is.
Montgomery working from the stretch. The pitch to Herrera is hit deep to left field. Herrera has just won it with a walk-off big fly into the Pirates bullpen.
Yes!
And the crowd is going nuts here at Busch Stadium. A 3-run home run for Herrera, his 5th of the year, and everybody waiting to meet him at home plate.
Oh, my gosh, that's Ricky Horton with the call on the Cardinals radio network, and that was just amazing. And then from the beginning last night, you had the crowd that was building. Now, they kind of moved to right field. That was the big development last night with the Tarps Off kids, right, Ethan?
Yes, so this is now going to be the designated area for this for the rest of the year. You, as far as I know, cannot buy these tickets in the upper level of the bleacher seats behind the visitors' bullpen in right field.
Okay.
It's anyone. If you buy a ticket, you can go and hang out there, and it's meant to be a supporter section. So, if you've ever been to a college basketball game.
Or a city game.
And
that's a good
the area
comparison,
behind like the basketball, behind the net, behind the hoop, that's very much so the vibe that it gives. And they did make sure to know that shirts are optional in that area. And the Tarps Off crew was awesome last night. Again, the Stephen F. Austin boys, the ones that started it, that we had on the show yesterday, Mark, they were there. They had to leave a little bit early, so they missed the walk-off because they had to get a bus to head back home to
they
Texas.
missed it? I
so
didn't know that
they did
part.
miss it. They left in the seventh. They left in the 7th inning. But man, what a fun night at the ballpark. And the Cardinals, it almost feels like the play on the field has been almost second to all the attention that has been drawn because of the Tarps Off. But they continue to win ball games and play excellent baseball. And just like that, they are a half game behind the Milwaukee Brewers for the Central Division League.
Look at that. I like that.
I love it.
Unbelievable.
I do. Well, my question, we'll talk about this a little bit. Our friend Alex Rich, who played baseball at the University of Indiana, he'll have some thoughts on this. He was at the soccer game last night. He did the national anthem. So we'll have, and that's the second time he did that. But I guess my question would be, where does this go? I mean, how long can you keep this up, right? Because the kids from Stephen F. Austin won't be here. Obviously, you're going to have younger people who are going to take the the mantle, if you will, and kind of push it forward. But it's hard for me to envision that this goes on like every game
Right.
from now until the end of the season. Now you got other franchises out there where some people are trying this as well. But I love it. Even if it stops today, it doesn't really matter. It's been worth it, and it's been a lot of fun. But it will be interesting to see what happens, because it's not only going out there and taking your shirt off. They're chanting. They're actively engaged in the game. I mean, you're working. It's not like you're just sitting there talking to your friends at the game when you're doing this. I mean, believe me, they're having a good time, but you know what I mean. You're not passively sitting watching the game. See what happens when it's 100 degrees out there, right?
Here's what I can tell you is that every single game up to this point, the numbers have grown immensely as the game has gone on.
Yeah,
Why is that?
yeah.
Well, the consumption of alcohol is growing.
That
Kids
does
are
have
there,
a-
and they're seeing them go out there. Dad, come on, let's go.
Yeah.
That's going to happen to a certain extent. Now, is it going to be as crazy and full as it has been these first 4 games that they've done it?
Yeah.
Probably not. But if the Cardinals have a big weekend series and, the Yankees are in town or the Cubs are in town, because this is a thing now and they know there's a designated area where they can go at any point, I think it is going to stick around, and there's still going to be games where maybe once we get to the month of July, if the Cardinals are still playing well and there's a big weekend game coming, it wouldn't surprise me to see it full in a couple of months later in the year on a weekend series still.
There's Fred. I think you can certainly relate to this, but we want, and Ethan, a bit of a rarity because he's a young person who loves baseball, is passionate about baseball. Not that that's unique around here in St. Louis, but let's face it, for the game overall, getting younger people involved, engaged, interested, that's been a challenge for Major League Baseball.
Yeah, sorry.
No, I agree. I think, my sons who are, mild baseball fans and living in different cities are texting me a lot about this.
Because they've
saying,
seen it.
Yeah, what's going on?
Yeah.
And I wonder if it's going to happen in New York at a Yankees game,
exactly.
or a Mets game, or in D.C. at a Nationals game.
So you were going to say, I'm sorry.
I was going to say the Cardinals are lucky.
Yeah.
This fell in their lap.
It did.
And, it increased the excitement where they needed it and just in time. This is a stroke of fortune.
I agree with you. And it's so unique because it was organic, which is why I love it so much. But it's going to be interesting to see. By the way, there was another baseball story last night that was fascinating. There was an inside the park. Wasn't it a grand slam?
Yeah, it was.
By
Yeah.
James Wood of the
No.
Nationals against the Mets? Yeah, what happened was he hits it deep to left field, and the outfielders collided. And when they collided, the ball skips off to closer to center field, and everyone just starts chugging around the base path, and he gets a grand slam, like the Little
That's
League grand
amazing.
slam.
What was also amazing is that the two outfielders, one of the outfielders, kind of stopped and checked on the other outfielder who was on the ground before they went back after the
Oh, well,
baseball.
that was nice.
Well, it was nice,
yeah,
but it wasn't
also
very good for
time
the-
consuming.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
By the way, that was not. Let me restate that, because the Little League home run is more like what we had last week, where the ball
Yeah.
slips by.
Right.
The
It was on
outfield. This
airs.
is more of a inside the park grand slam, so which is kind of
Both
crazy.
are very rare.
Right, so you just threw a towel at me.
Yes.
They've already printed these. It says tarps off.
This
Get
is-
the
they were
Serve Pro ad on there on the bottom.
Oh,
Who did
they-
those? They turned those around quickly,
They
right?
turned them around very quickly, and the reason I got that last night, they were giving those out in the supporter section only. So like you go up there, you get a towel. The Cardinals are doing a really good job of marketing this and trying to take advantage of this, like already designating off that area where it makes sense. They're doing a good job with it. So
Are
hopefully
you
they can
going?
continue to do so.
The game's tonight, right?
The game is
Are you
tonight.
going to the
yes.
game tonight?
I don't think I'm going to be there tonight.
How about tomorrow? Tomorrow's a day game.
Tomorrow's a day game. So
See, I'm trying to think this. Who can I get to take Gene down to the right field
I have an
bleachers?
answer.
Because I think that
No
Gene
one.
should be
how about Mark
pictured.
Reardon?
I don't know. I don't have time
Take
tonight.
yourself down there.
No, you know what I have tonight, Sue? You find this interesting. It's not really graduation, but this is the night that Alexa, basically, they wrap up 5th grade. So the last day of school is Friday. It's a half day, but it's going to time out perfectly because it's 6:30 tonight. So when I leave the air, I'll go right to Stanton Elementary, and there is a little ceremony, and they pass the baton, if you will, to middle school. So that's pretty significant tonight. And by the way, and I'm not criticizing the school. I think all schools are like this, but I don't really think they've done anything productive in school for a few weeks now, and these kids are ready to be out.
Oh, yeah.
And Alexa's jobbing us for Friday. She's like, I don't want to go for the half day on Friday. We don't do anything. I'm like, well, it's part of school, blah blah blah. Well, there's a
Yes.
bunch of other kids that are going. Well, but there's kids. Her friends are going to Lake of the Ozarks. So she's like, I don't want to be around when they're just talking about that. I'm like, okay. But there needs to be, so like we're in a negotiation phase right now at my household with the 11-year-old. There's things that happen. And I can't believe that I even buy into it.
Do you
I
feel
was
like you're
gonna
winning?
say,
Do you feel like you're
wow.
winning these negotiations? Mark?
No, I don't. Let's see what happened last night. I have to remember this. So
Have you
she's-
destroyed her Navy yet?
No.
Okay.
No, but I can't remember the code word because last night she says sometimes she'll just lay in her bed. She's like, can you grab my, charger for my watch and all this? And like an idiot, I do it. Right? So last night she wanted her phone and I went out and I was talking to her before bedtime. So I get it. First of all, she shouldn't have a phone. So I grabbed it and I said, I need you to remember this code word. And now I can't even remember it. So I have to think about this.
Wait, what is the code word?
I'm going to explain it to you.
Okay.
I'm going
Can
to
you
explain
tell
it
us?
to you. No, because I don't know what the
tell
code
it.
word is. But
Oh,
what I
okay.
wanted to say was I'll have to think about it because I
It
came
sounds
up
like
with the word.
she's treating you like you treat Ethan.
Thank you. That's a good example.
Oh, that's a good. That's accurate.
Right.
Okay.
It kind of is when you think about it.
Yeah.
But what I said to her is, this is so funny because I can't remember the word. I said, I'm going to come up with a code word. She goes, okay. I said, here it is. And she said, okay. And I said, when I use that code word, I don't care what you're doing. If I ask you to do first of all, this should be just parenting anyway, right? I
Yes.
should be able to say, when I ask you to do something, you should do it.
Yes.
But that's not parenting in 2026 because I'm weak and I'm,
You are in
defeated.
control of that. You
I'm
can
not.
do it.
You should be at my house. So anyway, I said, when I use that code word, but again, I got to remember what the code word is.
Is it battleship?
It's not battleship.
Is it Gene?
It's not Gene, which
Okay.
seems to make sense. But I told her that she has to drop everything, and now it doesn't matter because the code word's gone. So I can't believe I forgot the code word. Under
what?
12
Here's
hours.
what I would have heard. Just because everyone else is jumping off a bridge, are you going to jump off a bridge?
Yeah, right. And then the belt would have come out too. Let me tell you that right now. Brian Kilmeade's coming up next.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
And then, of course, you'd say, well, maybe if it's a low bridge,
Yeah, those are the conversations you'd have, right?
Yes. And then, of course, you never got to go. Northbound 55 in the construction zone. I got caught in this. They've got you down to one lane at one point, so just be aware. And this was north of Bayless. In fact, it was north of Revis Barracks in that area of Bayless. Huh? Yeah. So look for a slow go there. And southbound is lined up, too. This is all road work. Hopefully this will come to an end some year soon. Now, westbound 70 is fine out of downtown. It's a little bit slow approaching K and Wentzville. 64, that's a slow go approaching Hampton out through McCausland. And then between Winghaven and Highway N. And southbound 270, slow pockets from Page down through 64. I'm Sue Thomas, and that's traffic. 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Sue, I'm going to be off on Friday as we head into the weekend. Brad Young is going to fill in. He sent a picture, and I think a lot of people are having fun with this, but he sent a picture of himself next to Ali Marmal with his shirt off. Now, it really wasn't him, but he had a colleague that used AI to put Brad's face on someone in the clubhouse, which, again, a lot of people having fun with this right now, which is cool.
Spring and summer air should feel fresh, not full of dust and allergens and whatever winter left behind in your air ducts. Mark Cox here. You know, your vents are the lungs of your home, and if they're dirty, you're breathing it in every day. That's where Zero Res comes in, backed by thousands of Google reviews and a 4.9 rating. This month only, get a whole system air duct cleaning for just $5.99. 314-474-2020 or visit ZeroResSTL.com and ask for the 97.1 special.
For the last 33 years, you've discovered that at Banner Construction, we pride ourselves on quality craftsmanship. We believe the single most important decision homeowners must make when considering an exterior restoration project is who do you hire. At Banner, we provide well-engineered, meaningful, long-term solutions to transform your home into the pride of the neighborhood. Let us help you fall in love with your home all over again. Call or visit bannerconstruction.com and have a banner day.
New tax resolution firms are popping up every day with high-paid celebrity endorsers, advertising ridiculous claims in their TV ads. That's why they have the tiny, unreadable disclaimers at the bottom of the screen. Hi, this is Lance Drury with the Lance Drury Law Firm. Our ads never have those ridiculous, fast-talking, tiny disclaimers at the end because, simply put, there are no guarantees when it comes to the IRS and wiping out tax bills. And we don't make promises we can't keep. Of course, there are ways the Lance Drury Law Firm can help resolve your tax debt, but no company can guarantee it will eliminate it. This is why their clients call the Lance Drury Law Firm when those promises don't pan out. If you have tax problems, you have legal problems, call me, Lance Drury in St. Louis, at 314-260-6120 or visit Lance, DRURY law.com to schedule your free consultation with your local tax resolution law firm.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting truly great candidates for your roles? It seems impossible to find them, but they have to be out there somewhere, right? Well, they're not hard to find when you know where to go, and that place is ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. And because these people are actively looking for jobs just like yours, it's easy to find the right person right away. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. But if you're not using ZipRecruiter, you're missing out. So see what it's like when the impossible is easy. When you go to ZipRecruiter.com/radio right now to try ZipRecruiter for free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. Never miss out on great candidates with ZipRecruiter.
The Mark Reardon Show is St. Louis conservative.
We had a listener who weighed in here on my situation with my daughter. I want to thank that person for making an excellent point, Sue Thomas.
Yes, and here's what he said. Mark, it doesn't sound like your daughter understands you're trying to heal from major surgery.
Yeah, exactly.
She should get your phone.
Thank you. That's You know what? I can't believe I didn't remember that last night.
Thank you,
All
Russell.
Right. Thank you to Russell there. Brian Kilmeade is with us this afternoon. I understand that I listened this morning. You're a little sleep deprived because you went to that Knicks game last night, Brian.
Well, I'm always sleep deprived, so
well,
that's not
true.
news. But
that's true.
I did go to the Knicks game. It was, I've never seen a run like this, and I was working those games with Knicks games when Patrick Ewing was a center, and John Starks, and all these guys, and they were in contention with the Heat and the Spurs, and playing the Rockets, where O.J. Simpson was running away with his white Bronco, all that stuff. They were good for like 10 years. But I've never seen anything quite like this. But it's kind of weird. Those guys are actually in attendance watching.
So, yeah, that is bizarre. For people here in St. Louis, because, we're not an NBA market, so we're NHL. People focus on hockey. We don't really pay attention much to the NBA. But what happened last night, the Knicks went on a 44-11 run, right, Brian? That's incredible.
Yeah. 7 minutes and 20 seconds left.
Wow.
They're down by 22. And they go on a 44-11 run. And they get to the point where they got the ball to win it in regulation. And the ball went in and out. And then by the time overtime comes up, they're up by 9 almost instantly, and they walk away in overtime. This is their eighth straight victory.
Yeah, that's great. Did I hear you say that you had to cut out before overtime because of the job?
Because I had to leave the arena at 9:50 because I got to get up at 2:30.
Yeah,
and I still had an hour ride home. But I made that move. But I just heard the whole thing. By the time I got in the house, I'm watching overtime. So
Did you just say it's an hour? Was it an hour ride home?
Yeah.
Oh, my. Okay. We're very spoiled here in St. Louis. We're like a 10-minute drive is long for us, Brian. You have to understand that. Tom Massey defeated in Kentucky, and it was kind of resounding last night. This is an interesting story because he kind of smoked his competition in 2020 and wasn't, a Trump guy back then. But, man, he changed over the last 6 years, and the Kentucky voters sent him packing last night, Brian.
Oh, yeah, he's a clown. And that's not where, I'm not for Iran or, everything that he was just there to get in Trump's way. He's like Adam Kinzinger, sits there on CNN and just everything Trump does is wrong. Doesn't act into Iran, bad. Then he says that he acts in Iran, you can't win. So it's just like the same thing when he's in office. And then to see that he goes out there and combines with Ro Khanna and says, I got to get to the bottom of the Epstein trial, when for the he was there for 20 years? He never had any interest in the Epstein files until he saw that Trump's name is in them. So then he had to get to the bottom of it. So everyone saw how insincere it was, and then he put just another person on the right who's anti-Israel and anti-Jewish. He makes a comment that the Navy SEAL that beat him, because I wanted to call and congratulate him, but he was in Tel Aviv. What are you talking about?
That's outrageous. I have not played that audio yet, but it's just here. I want people to hear this, Brian.
Thomas Massey tonight in his
Actually, sorry, that was Scott Jennings reacting. Here he is, right here.
I would have come out sooner, but I had to call my opponent and concede, and it took a while to find Ed Galrein in Tel Aviv. I did get the call through, though. I have called and conceded the race. We've been honorable the whole time, and we're going to stay that way.
So my favorite part of that soundbite is that he makes that ridiculous, cracks that line about, Tel Aviv, and then he says we've run an honorable campaign. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, he is. I expect you to believe that. So, yeah, and it's doing everything but. He's sarcastic. It's the right-wing podcast crowd who thinks that Israel's to blame for everything.
Yeah.
So there he is, and he's one of the first to run on that. Now, there'll be people running on that in Congress. I don't know too many, but the bigger problem, I think, is on the left, when you got another socialist who just won in Philadelphia. This guy beat a Governor Shapiro supporter. This guy, the Blues, the Democrats going to win the whole thing. And Shapiro, back the other guy. This guy's been actually following Shapiro around, heckling him. He's a Democrat. AOC backs him, and he wins. And he's a big socialist and anti-Israel. So this is going to be what we're going to see in a little bit in 26 or a lot, and then 28 will be overwhelming. On the debate stage, when they used to put your hands up, well, put your hand up if you will ban oil and gas. They all pretended, I'll put your hand up. Now they're going to say, put your hand up if you will stop selling arms for Israel, and they'll all have to put their hands up.
It's interesting because I think we have a litmus test of this summer, and I just checked on this with some folks this morning because Cory Bush is trying to get back into Congress. We have a guy named Wesley Bell who holds that seat right now. He's certainly a Democrat, but he's not insane like Cory Bush. He kind of votes the same way. But I checked on this with some folks in the know. I said, hey, what's the polling showing? And he has a upper single-digit lead, so let's say it's 8 or 9 percentage points. But look, in a primary where, you can crank out turnout, and she's bringing people here that are as crazy as, anyone else in the country, but that's going to gin up those supporters on the progressive side. And unfortunately, Brian, this is kind of a side story. I don't know if you read this yet, but Barney Frank died. And for those of us who have been around politics for a long time, he was in office from 1981 until 2013. And on his deathbed, he gave an interview to the New York Times, and he gave some advice to the Democrats, which, by the way, sounds a lot like John Fetterman. So there's a guy, he was the first openly gay member of Congress. He did a lot of things for Democrats and fought for Democrat causes. But his warning on his deathbed was, stop with this nonsense.
Yeah, I saw that, and I think we played that. We played that on one of the Sunday shows. Yeah, I mean the socialism thing. They want to be Trump. He hates Trump, but he says no one wants to do socialism. Isn't that pretty clear? I mean, now you have Mondami in New York meeting with the CEO Jamie Dimon of J.P. Morgan Chase and the CEO of Goldman Sachs, saying essentially, we don't get the exact readout. They said we had a productive conversation, but they're still moving the bulk of their people out of New York City into Florida, and for J.P. Morgan, it's mostly Dallas. They say, we have an investment. We're not going to move everybody out, but we're not going to look to keep people. We're not going to keep people here if they don't want to stay, and we're not going to be buying any more buildings. Plus the regulation when you go to buy a building. John Catsimatidis owns WABC. I was just interviewing him, and he said, I built a building. I go, really? I go, I didn't know that. He goes, yeah, I'm so angry. I go, why? He goes, because they made me build an electric building. And I told them that's important. They go, no new buildings will be built in electric. And they said it's totally not practical. I'm already having huge problems with it. No one's ever done it before. And it's all because they want to be politically correct, not be practical. When we know oil and gas, natural gas does not hurt the environment. But now they're all electric, and our electric grid runs on coal. And they shut down our nuclear plant because Governor Cuomo thought it would be a cool thing to do. So utility costs are going through the roof. And they're making everyone go electric, so they're going up even higher. So now all of a sudden, do you see the UN backed off their climate change prediction?
I did. It's on my list of topics.
There's climate change.
Yeah, right.
No, so do you realize all the crap, all the protests, all the demands, all the new Green Deal that Joe Biden jammed down our throats, the windmills that we built? Do you know that Norway and Sweden have basically gone all market economy? And Norway sold us a bill of goods with all these in ocean. You guys wouldn't know this, but in our ocean, off the coast, you see all windmills now, and in New Jersey especially,
really
killing the whales, and basically they're useless. For some reason they're more effective in Texas, but they're not effective in the water. So Trump's trying to stop it, and New York wants to finish the contract, but it's all a lark. Everyone's been sold a bill of goods, and the new thing is socialism and to fund ICE. And now you got to do. There's always on the left. There's always some type of litmus test. I think that for a while, I think George Bush was marriages between a man and a woman. I didn't love that. Like, why is, out of all the issues in the world, why are we doing that? But okay. But now that's nonstop with the left. They always said they have this line.
Yeah, well, those people should read that Barney Frank interview. I think they'd have some interesting takeaways. What's coming up on the show this weekend on Sunday night?
I got John Catsimatidis weighing in on the billionaires told to hit the road. I got Frank Stiller talking about everything he's doing on this 25 years since 9/11 and 250 years for all first responders. I got an interview with Landon Donovan previewing the World Cup, and Pat Chan, I'm going to roll the U.S. winning the World Cup commercial, see the chances of that actually happening. And then I have an interview with the Body by Jake. We're talking about the comeback of the fitness challenge, and he's got a new channel on iHeart, and the comeback of the 90s music. You guys must know that in your building. But it seems like everyone loves the 80s and 90s music again, and he bought the rights for iHeartRadio to win that. He has a new fitness channel on iHeartRadio, and they're rolling all this music in. So, like, why are we falling back in love with the 80s and 90s?
Yeah, it's fascinating. I'm experiencing some of that, and I've watched it happen. Look, we had Stained here over the weekend, and, that's another band. Like, something picks up on TikTok or whatever, it goes viral, and the kids latch onto it. I think it's fun. It's really cool. Brian, have a great weekend. Enjoy your holiday. We'll talk next week.
All right, go get him, Mark.
Take care. That's Brian Kilmeade. You hear him every morning here on 97.1 FM Talk, and his show on Sunday, 9 p.m., One Nation with Brian Kilmeade.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
We've got a report of a stall eastbound on 6440 before Timberlake Manor, and they're saying that is in the right lane. We've got volume on northbound 55. This is due to road work. They had us down to one lane approaching Bayless, and that has really caused a delay. Well, road work southbound as well, and this is that ongoing stuff. So if you are headed down toward Bates, it really is a slow go at this hour. Now, on the Illinois side, 64 eastbound, slowing at 255. Back on the Missouri side, it's out west where we have volume on 64. This is approaching Winghaven, out past N, and 70 westbound is slow approaching Highway K. Southbound 270, slow pockets of moderate volume, and that is from Page down through Doherty Ferry. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Sue, I think you're going to love the next topic, and I haven't mentioned it yet, but I think it's super cool. Joe Nocera is going to be with us from the Free Press. He's been on talking about a variety of issues over the years, but he's starting a new 6-part podcast that takes a look at the Lindbergh kidnapping.
Love it.
And, he actually reached out to Fred to say, hey, I want to come on and talk about this. And we kind of almost forget about all, you say Lindbergh Boulevard every day. We take some of this history with Charles Lindbergh for granted. So, obviously, we got Spirit of St. Louis Airport and all these things. So, Joe's going to join us coming up here next and talk about all that. And if you're a subscriber to the Free Press, you can listen to all 6 parts actually right now. I want to talk about your retirement because very, very soon, I'm expecting in the next couple of weeks, we'll have another in a series. We do 5 a year of events with the Retirement Advisory Group. That means it's with Thomas Helbig and his nephew, Bob Kershaw, Bob's wife, Tammy. It's a family-owned and operated and run business, and they'd love to help you plan for your retirement. Maybe you're already in retirement. You're not happy with the way things are going. How do you stretch your money? How do you lock in the gains that you've made on Wall Street and not lose money and make sure that you still have enough money to live on? That's what they do. This is what they've done for decades here in St. Louis. They're going to look at your situation and come up with a custom strategy. Just for coming in, you get a free copy of their book, Your Key to a Worry-Free Retirement. Now, if you prefer to do it in a group setting, like I said, we'll have that announcement soon for another event out there in Chesterfield. In the meantime, go to the website, retirementkey.com.
If you're hiring a contractor, you want to work with somebody with a great reputation. Mark Cox here to tell you more about Chesterfield Fence and Deck. Better Business Bureau Torch Award winners, family-owned Small Business of the Year Award winner with the Small Business Administration, and they consistently rank in the top 100 for replacement contractors in Remodeling Magazine. That's why it matters who you work with. They've been family-owned since 1968, and it's a sign you have the very best when this is in your yard. It doesn't matter what you're looking for. Maybe you need a new deck. They've got Vecadec materials, which is basically maintenance-free. They can, of course, do cedar decks and cedar fences as well. Maybe you just want a screened-in porch or you want an all-season room. They do, of course, free in-home estimates and free project design on top of it. When you go over there, tell them Mark Cox sent you. You get a special discount of 48 months, same as cash financing. Go to ChesterfieldFence.com. Most sellers put their home on the market and just wait to see what happens. Hey, it's Mark Cox, and I'm with Gloria Liu, your home sold guaranteed realty. Gloria, is there a better way to sell?
There is. Instead of listing your home the traditional way and hoping for the right buyer, I can get you up to 8 competitive cash offers right from the start. That means you're not guessing what your home might sell for. You're looking at the real offers and choosing the one that works the best for you. It also helps you to set the right price and create stronger demand if you decide to go to market. It gives you control, leverage, and a clear path forward before you accept just any offer. And remember, I'll guarantee to sell your home at 100% of the market value, or I'll pay you the difference.
Before you sell your home, see what your options are. Call the one I trust, Gloria Liu, 314-325-6888, or visit GloriaHasTheBuyers.com. That's GloriaHasTheBuyers.com. Gloria and seller must agree on price and possession.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
And this portion of the show is sponsored by Jerry Kelly, heating, air conditioning, electrical, and plumbing.
25 years strong. 97.1 FM Talk. St. Louis Conservative.
I had to kind of give myself a bit of a refresher course today on everything that sort of relates to Charles Lindbergh in St. Louis. I mean, we take a lot of this for granted. We have his name all over our city. We have Spirit of St. Louis Airport, which there's a great air show at next weekend. So Joe Nocera is with us. He is a senior editor with the Free Press. He's been on the show many times before, but he has something new. It's a 6-part podcast that is out that takes a look at the Lindbergh baby kidnapping. And we love true crime, and this is like very legendary, historic true crime. Joe, welcome back to the show. How are you this afternoon?
I'm great. How are you guys?
We're good. And I will tell you that, over the years, certainly I've talked about, I've discovered, I've learned a little bit about that kidnapping. But, man, when I was digging in and doing the research, every once in a while I prepare for an interview, Joe. It doesn't always happen. I was kind of, amazed by how many details and questions. And that's kind of what you're doing here, is tying some of this stuff together after 100 years, right?
It is true. There are so many, you just look into it, there's so many questions that are unanswered. And this was not, an open and shut case. It wasn't even an open and shut case back in 1934 when Bruno Richard Hauptmann was on trial for kidnapping the baby. But it's even more the case now that we have a different view of the judiciary and what happens in court and how you collect evidence and so on and so forth. So the question of whether this guy did it by himself is a very, very open question.
So how do you, and let's refresh people's memory just a little bit. This goes back to March 1st of 1932, and this is in the aftermath, obviously, of Charles Lindbergh, who flew across the Atlantic solo, the first person to do that, and he was one of the more popular people in all of the world, and certainly in this country. But on that night, March 1st in New Jersey, 1932, someone climbs through a second-story window and took the baby, and then the baby was later found murdered. So that's basically the framework for the crime, right?
That's right. That's right. Although there are questions even whether that person climbed in to the place, or there's a lot of people who believe someone inside the Lindbergh household handed the baby out because there were no fingerprints in the room afterwards. There was no mud on the floor, even though it was a muddy night. Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. The question just so the purpose of the podcast is just kind of sort through this and tell people, this is a weird, interesting case that you can go down this rabbit hole and you can stay down there for a really long time.
So one thing I didn't know, so you say in the podcast that Charles Lindbergh himself directed the police investigation and he did not want his staff to be interviewed and things along those lines?
Yeah, that's right. Norman Schwarzkopf, the father of Stormin' Norman Schwarzkopf from the first Gulf War, he was the head of the New York State Police, which was kind of pretty brand new and had never actually investigated a crime before. And he worshipped the ground that Charles Lindbergh walked on. Oh. And basically, he was willing to do anything, literally anything, that Lindbergh told him to. And Lindbergh essentially took control of the investigation into his son's kidnapping until the son's body was found in the woods 6 weeks later.
Joe, it's Sue. How did he take control? In other words, did he want something opposite of what law enforcement wanted, or was he, just saying, "Here's how I think it should be done"?
No. It was way worse than that. He, for example, he gave a copy of the ransom note to two mobsters, which was this. Because he thought the mob could maybe help find the kid. And so once you have given the ransom note out, once it's out in the open, anybody can copy it.
Yeah.
So there's a decent possibility that the person that they gave the $50,000 in ransom money to was an extortionist, not a kidnapper. It's just he did a whole series of things, and then he told Schwarzkopf that he was not allowed to interview anybody on his staff as a suspect because he believed that everybody in his staff was above board and they could not be questioned, interrogated. They could be asked questions, but not as an interrogation. So he did a series of things like that just you look at it now and you just shake your head. What is going on here?
So what took you personally down this rabbit hole? Was there something that caught your attention in particular, or how did that happen?
There was actually something. It was the New York Times did an article about a book in which a woman claimed that Lindbergh had basically killed his own kid in collaboration with a guy named Carell, who was a Nobel Prize-winning scientist, but who was also a major, big-time eugenicist who believed that disabled people should be, basically put down.
Oh, my.
And I don't. Do I believe that is true? I do not. I will admit. In fact, I think it's kind of lunacy. But it was like, whoa, where did this come from? And I didn't know, I knew he was a white supremacist. I didn't know how deep his eugenicist roots ran. And so it's like, I want to find out more about this. And then once you dive in, you find out there's all kinds of theories about what really happened. Some people think Lindbergh was involved, but it was a prank gone wrong because, believe it or not, he had once hidden the child for 20 or 25 minutes, causing panic by his wife and the baby's nurse, just as a prank, because he liked to pull pranks. And you just shake your head, man. You just like, what the hell?
But you found, when you went out to do this, you found like a bunch of researchers, like you say, 25 researchers who are, like all over the board on different theories that have really dug into this and gone down this rabbit hole, right?
That's right. There's a lot of books written about this. There's a lot of theories about who might have done it. Some people think Hauptmann had nothing to do with it. Some people think Hauptmann was in cahoots with some other people. Some people think there was a giant conspiracy led by Lindbergh that included Hauptmann. They wanted to move the child to Germany or move him somewhere else because he was supposedly had rickets and some other physical problems that Charles Lindbergh didn't want to have to deal with. There's a dozen different possibilities.
Well, you're certainly tapping into one thing that is true, and that's the fascination that we have with true crime. It almost makes me wonder, in the case that is frustrating everyone right now, and I cannot believe that the Nancy Guthrie thing is still sitting out there. And, you almost feel like, Joe, that we're never going to have any answers in that one, right?
It's starting to look that way. The Lindbergh, I would say the Lindbergh case is the original true crime story in America, and I would say it's also one of the first big conspiracy stories in America, where people started to come up with alternate possibilities of for what really happened.
So the podcast is called The Lindbergh Conspiracies. If you are a subscriber to the Free Press, of which I am, at thefp.com, I think you can get all of the episodes right now, right, without ads.
That's right.
But you can get them. Are you guys doing them weekly or daily?
Yeah, weekly. You can get them. You can get them every Tuesday or Wednesday. I don't know which. You can get them weekly. So if you want to sit at the edge of your seat and wait for the next one, you can do that. Or you can subscribe to the Free Press, which I would advise.
I would advise it, too. It's a great outlet. You know I love it, and I love your contribution. So, Joe, thanks a lot. I'm traveling this weekend. I'm going to have to download the podcast. Sounds like something I might want to listen to, and folks here in St. Louis, obviously, with all the ties. So I appreciate you coming on here.
Okay. Listen, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
Take care. That's Joe Nocera at thefp.com. You know, Sue, I'm not good at history. I love history, but I'm not good at remembering things, if you will. I can barely, like I said, remember what the code word was with my daughter last night that I'm still supposed to remember, but it was late at night and I was a little confused. But I just went and did the AI thing here about Charles Lindbergh. You know, so
it's an anniversary today.
Today is?
Yeah, I'm
I
going
didn't
to
know
have
that.
it in Sue's news.
Just totally coincidentally with this interview? Okay. So what they say here is that Lindbergh moved here in 1925 to serve as the chief pilot for the first St. Louis to Chicago airmail route.
Yes.
And that operated out of Lambert, all right? To fund his dream of winning the Orteig Prize by flying from New York to Paris.
Yeah.
Did I pronounce that right?
Well,
Orteig?
close enough.
Was it Orteig?
It's fine.
Okay. Well, I want
Because
to know
I
how to
can't
pronounce
remember.
it.
I'd
Okay,
have
all
to
right.
have the word in front of me.
He gets $15,000 financed by 9 St. Louis businessmen and the Chamber of Commerce.
There's a history of the Louis Sioux on this.
I bet there is.
Uh-huh.
In gratitude of those sponsors, he officially named the monoplane the Spirit of St. Louis.
Correct.
Following his landing in Paris, he comes back here to St. Louis in June of 1927 for a big celebration. The parade, they say, drew over 500,000 people.
Pretty impressive.
It
I
really
mean,
is.
think about that feat. It's unbelievable. And the whole reason anybody wanted to get involved was because of that $25,000 prize. And the guy who put it up, Ortiz, his whole idea was, you know what? I'm French American. I'd like to get back and forth. Let's get this. Let's put out an incentive to get somebody to fly it. And then it'll be more efficient. Yes.
Oh, that's interesting.
It's cool.
So then you think about 1920. That was 5 years that went by. I mean, he's clearly one of the more famous people on the planet. And then you're getting into the part of the Depression and everything, the Great Depression.
Yeah.
But it was 1932 when the kidnapping took place. And I learned more just in the last 15 minutes about that kidnapping. I'm sure, I listened to something or learned something in the past, but that's interesting that they're digging back into that.
It is. And those stories are always intriguing, aren't they?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And the Free Press is really good, so people should check it out at thefp.com.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Not a bad commute tonight. Now, listen, if you're just headed out on 55, there is a jam that is annoying. It is northbound, and it's really close to Bayless, kind of on either side of Bayless. They had traffic down to one lane through there in the construction zone. And then it jams again southbound. That's all due to road work as you head down toward Bates. Now we've got an accident reported on westbound 44, really close to the Poplar Street Bridge. Parking lot jam that goes back through the Stan Musial Veterans Memorial Bridge right about there. So just bear that in mind. Now, if on the Illinois side, you're a person who takes eastbound 64, it's lined up 111 through 157. On the Missouri side, 64 is slow, but it's approaching Hampton out through McCausland, again at 270. And then in pockets from Wing Haven out through 70. 70 is a little lighter, just a little slow at 79 here and there. Southbound 270, slow pockets from Page down past Gravois and again at 21. This report is brought to you by Lakeside Renovation and Design. For over 25 years, they have been St. Louis's choice for transforming homes inside and out. They do everything from siding to kitchens and give you quality craftsmanship with lifetime warranties. Go to lakesiderd.com. I'm Sue Thomas. That's Traffic 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
All this week, the Mark Reardon Show has your chance to win a pair of tickets to the Spirit of St. Louis Air Show. The Spirit of St. Louis Air Show is taking place June 6th and 7th, and we want to send you. Listen to the Mark Reardon Show every day from 3 to 6 for your chance to win. We're going to do a little bit of a promo on the air show tomorrow, but I have some tickets to win right now. Now, the first couple of days here, we're giving away tickets for June 6th, the first day of the show. And then tomorrow and Friday, Brad Young will be here Friday. Tickets are for the Sunday. So if you'd like to go Saturday, I have a pair of tickets provided by the Spirit of St. Louis Air Show, which is always a great time out in Chesterfield. If you're calling number 8 on the contest line, Ethan will take your call right now. We'll get you the tickets, 314-241-9797. And our friend Mark Sutherland, who is one of the people who puts the show together. I think he's going to join us at 4:04 tomorrow with a preview.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
ZipRecruiter. According to MasterCard, nearly half of small businesses have been a victim of a cyber attack. As cybercrime escalates, ThrottleNet is calling on businesses to strengthen their security posture by taking a free online IT security audit right from your desk. This 3-minute online assessment provides an immediate score to see security gaps and vulnerabilities in your network. For 26 years, ThrottleNet has supported your business IT everything right here in St. Louis. In fact, no client of ThrottleNet has ever paid a ransom. So visit ThrottleNet.com/971 to take the free assessment today.
With summer here and the kids home full time, your garage door will see a lot more use. Do it a favor with annual maintenance from Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. The 26-point tune-up is one price for up to 3 garage doors and openers. Get them all done. Trusted in St. Louis for 100 years. Always look for the genuine, the original red ribbon of Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. Since 1926, they're never going to steer you wrong. Schedule online at overheaddoorsstlouis.com. Don't let tax refund worries hold you back. File now with TurboTax on Intuit Credit Karma. They'll find every credit and deduction to help you get every refund dollar you deserve, or your money back. Start filing today in the Credit Karma app.
Mark Reardon is St. Louis conservative.
Well, we had a lot of confusion from one of our Reardon Roundtable participants because Jean Evans, heard her name several times. She heard the name Jean at the beginning of the show, right? And then she didn't really catch the beginning of it. And just to be clear, I did not name it after her. It's actually, I thought of a friend. I don't know why, but I was thinking of a friend of mine in Milwaukee. I used to do radio with him. His name is Gene Miller, Gene.
Yeah,
So,
sorry, Gene. But you are the real Gene.
Right. So I named the cyst after him. I don't know why. I just felt like it fit. Gene with a G, just to be clear.
Yeah,
to make sure
it works with the Gene from Bob's Burgers. That's why I was like,
there you go.
Yeah.
All right. I like that. So there's a bunch of stuff I have today. Alex Rich is going to join us in the next hour. There's something that's related to that awful Cars for Kids jingle that I have. I have other things that I want to get to this afternoon where there's an interesting exchange between a trans man who thinks he's a woman and someone at a pharmacy that I'll get to. But I wanted to talk about Kim Strassel's column just for a little bit here in the Wall Street Journal because I do think it's important. This would be one of those things that maybe I'll talk about tomorrow a little bit more, but I know I'm not going to be here for the roundtable. So, look, you've heard, Sue, and we've all heard kind of about the ballroom and the plans for that in the East Wing. And we remember when this was all rolled out last year, the media went nuts on it, right? Because they're like, oh, he's tearing down the White House, blah, blah, blah. And one of the ways that I defended it, and I think other people defended it, was like, look, first of all, it needs to be done, and I still believe that.
Oh, yeah.
But the claim was laid that this is not going to cost taxpayers anything, right? So it's like $400 million, but it's coming from donations, which is still true. However, Kim's column in the Wall Street Journal today points something out that I was unaware of, and this is where it gets a little controversial and maybe something that is uncomfortable for Republicans. So what she said is, and she kind of entitled this, the GOP Ballroom Bumble. And she explained it this way. There's a time and place for every fight, and choosing the best battleground isn't one the impatient Donald Trump's strong suits. See his demand that a Republican Congress dedicate its recent weeks to a damaging side debate over, quote, security funding for his proposed East Wing rebuild.
Yes.
The party urgently needs to move beyond what is now a 3-month circus over lapsed funding for DHS and pivot to a more positive midterm message, which I agree with completely. Instead, it's bottled up over a 90,000 square foot sliver of the White House real estate. So what's going on here is that, he steamed a bunch of people because he didn't really ask anyone's opinion, and he kind of pressed forward with this, which is what Trump sort of does.
Yeah.
But then the National Trust for Historic Preservation, which is privately funded, and a judge ruled that construction has to stop until Congress blesses the project through, statutory authorization. So Trump's really fixated on that. He wants this to move forward. And now the Republicans, we talked about this a little bit yesterday, and we'll probably touch on it with Duane Patterson in the 5 o'clock hour. The Republicans have a reconciliation bill now, right? And that's how they're going to fund the rest of DHS. The deal here is with the reconciliation bill, you don't need the 60-vote threshold. They can do it with 51 votes, right? One of the problems Kim Strassel points out is that reconciliation provisions must directly impact the federal budget. So, if you say something like, we, Congress, say booyah to a ballroom, that's not going to pass the Senate parliamentarian. In fact, I think the parliamentarian even threw a red flag on this earlier. So the GOP answer to this, and this is where I get uncomfortable, and nobody's talking about this except for maybe in this column. So what they did is they packaged together $1 billion for heightened White House security. And they included some magic words. So some of it will go to Secret Service training in technology. There's a new White House visitor screening center. I mean, some of these things are needed. Don't get me wrong. The problem that she points out is that this is kind of a bit of a bait and switch. So she says, and I agree with Kim Strassel on this, this is a provision that should have been placed into a much broader bill amid hundreds of other provisions. The proposal isn't unworthy, right? The White House has made every persuasive argument for the overall security package. Who can argue against more Secret Service training or more protection in light of what just happened at the White House Correspondents' Dinner, right? Supporters of the $200 million also know, because that's like a little side expenditure, if you will, they note that the East Wing comprises far more than a ballroom. It houses the First Lady and numerous other offices. It could be used, probably to beef that up just a little bit. So she says, look, the East Wing will be rebuilt. It's foolish not to invest in security from the start, but throwing that provision in the last minute to a single-issue funding bill for DHS was an invitation to put outsized focus on a ballroom when the GOP should be talking about outsized costs for Americans. I could not agree with Kim Strassel more on that issue. So GOP, move forward, and then make sure you're getting your story straight, too.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
On the roads, we've got road work, of course, on 55, but northbound, they've taken it down to one lane near Bayless, and that's causing a jam. Southbound is slow in the construction zone, especially headed for Bates. There was an accident westbound 44, really near the Poplar Street Bridge. We've got a jam behind that, and that's in the depressed section right there in front of the arch. Westbound 64, that's a slow go. It's Kings Highway out past McCausland. And then out west, it's Winghaven. And this is due to road work as well, out through 70. Now, 70 out of downtown is your best bet if you're headed west between that and 64. It's just moderate volume headed toward Wentzville. Of course, the best option is 44, which is in good shape from Jefferson on out. Now, on the Illinois side, we're fine on the Poplar, but 64 eastbound due to road work is jammed, approaching 157. I'm Sue Thomas, and that's traffic. 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
If you're considering an annuity as part of your retirement plan, we need to talk. Hi, I'm Bob Stockdale, Senior Vice President Investments with the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel and host of On the Money, Saturday mornings at 11 on 97.1 FM Talk. Annuities can be a useful tool for some retirement investors, but not all annuities are created equal. Every week, we meet clients who own complex annuities that don't suit their needs and, in some cases, actively undermine their retirement plan. Before you purchase an annuity, get a second opinion from the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel. Requesting a consultation is free of charge. To request a free consultation, contact us at clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com, or call us at 636-695-2650. That's clearpathinvesting.com or 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member NYSE and SIPC.
This is Congressman Bob Onder. Americans demanded border security, and House Republicans delivered. According to the Department of Homeland Security, for 10 consecutive months, U.S. Customs and Border Protection has reported 0 illegal aliens released at the border. I'm proud to have worked with the Trump administration to secure our southern border and uphold our immigration laws, and will keep fighting to advance strong policies that protect Missourians and keep America safe.
Paid for by official funds authorized by the House of Representatives.
I met my wife in law school at the University of Florida. She was from upstate New York and I was from Kentucky. We met at a daily mass at St. Augustine's. She was the most beautiful girl I'd ever seen in my life. After communion, I followed her out of the church and got her phone number. The rest is history. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Little did we know that one day we would have 4 children and the largest injury firm in the world. All 4 work in the business. It's a family business. Did I ever see this coming? Hell no. We just worked very hard and treated our clients like we would want to be treated, like family. It's a full-service injury firm, auto accidents, medical malpractice, workers' compensation, Social Security, and insurance disputes. We're open 24/7, 365 days a year. Visit forthepeople.com and we can get to work on your case. No recovery, no fee. Morgan & Morgan, for the people. Injured? Dial #law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Tony LaRussa here. Has your loss of energy and weight gain thrown you a curveball in your relationship? If so, go see my friends over at Victory Men's Health. Discreet first-class professionals will help you hit those curves out of the park. VictoryMen'sHealth.com. That's VictoryMen'sHealth.com.
License number GL2500615.
Hey, Dad, what causes drains to clog?
Grease, hair, soap scum, and tree roots.
Tree roots?
This town has old pipes and big trees. They find each other.
They grow inside pipes?
They bust into pipes.
Whoa.
Once they're in, the water stops flowing.
Can we fix it?
The big green grasser machine can fix any clog.
Green is always grasser at GrasserHomeServices.com.
If you're considering buying or selling a home, when it comes to choosing the Gelman team with eXp Realty, numbers don't lie. Over 1,500 Google and Zillow 5-star reviews, nearly 6,000 homes, and $2.5 billion in real estate sold. 314-336-1991, thegelmanteam.com.
KFTK FM Florissant from the Kaufman Townsley St. Louis's Injury Lawyers Studio. Call 314-777-7777.
That's 314-777-7777.
A new kind of pressure on Cuba. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News. A federal indictment unsealed in Miami charges Cuba's former president, Raul Castro, and several others in the 1996 shoot-down of civilian planes operated by Miami-based exiles, killing 4 Americans.
President Trump is committed to restoring a very simple but important principle. If you kill Americans, we will pursue you, no matter who you are, no matter what title you hold, and in this case, no matter how much time has passed.
Acting U.S. Attorney General Todd Blanche referring any questions about possible military action to the Pentagon, but President Trump telling reporters he does not think there's a need for escalation. Earlier, the president mixing foreign policy with a commencement address at the U.S. Coast Guard Academy in Connecticut.
The president praised the Coast Guard's role in the operation to capture Venezuela's leader Nicolas Maduro and the branch's role in Operation Epic Fury in Iran. But he also thanked the Coast Guard for their work interdicting drug trafficking.
We had a majority of drugs were coming in by the sea, by the ocean, and we have virtually stopped that.
On Iran, the president said he may have to hit them harder, but said maybe he won't have to.
The only question is, do we go and finish it up, or are they going to be signing a document? Let's see what happens.
He said he learned at his recent meeting with China's President Xi Jinping that Xi has a great respect for the U.S. military.
Fox's Jessica Rosenthal. A housing bill wins overwhelming bipartisan support in the U.S. House, but the 21st Century Road to Housing Act is not a done deal.
The bill does offer home building incentives as well as a program to convert buildings into housing among its details. But the House did strip out a Senate provision that made investors who built single-family homes for rent sell them after 7 years. The revised House version now goes back to the Senate.
Fox's Gernal Scott. That bill expected to keep moving, with housing being one of the affordability issues in focus leading up to the midterms. America is listening to Fox News.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought we'd ever have to use life insurance, but the unexpected happened. With Ethos, signing up was fast and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage. I'm grateful we were prepared.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/term. That's ethos.com/term. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Here's a tale of Tina, searching up and down for decent GLP-1s, but got spun around.
Tell Good RX Reardon, hey, we got something new. GLP-1 prescriptions, all FDA approved.
Brand name meds, no flags that are red.
Clear pricing from the start. None of those hidden fees in your cart.
Delivered to your door or pick up same day. Darn tootin'.
Save time and money on prescriptions.
Hotfoot it to goodrx.com/weight loss. GoodRx is not insurance.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation. Weather.
Cloudy and cool this evening, hanging right around 60 degrees. We'll turn partly cloudy late tonight, and it's chilly. 52 for the low. Thursday, partly sunny skies. Cool start out the door early morning, but a nice afternoon, 73. Thursday night, more clouds take over, 57. Friday, scattered showers and a couple of thunderstorms. Nothing strong or severe, and 72. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
This hour of the Mark Reardon Show is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts. Your trees deserve the best care. Call Gamma Tree Experts. This is the Mark Reardon Show on 97.1 FM Talk.
Wednesday afternoon, we visit with, in an hour here, Duane Patterson from hotair.com, the host of the Duane's World podcast. He has got an outstanding column that's out today on the boondoggle that is high-speed rail in California. And some of the numbers are just absolutely staggering. So I read that earlier, and I sent him a text. I said, I can't wait to talk about that. But we'll talk about what happened in Kentucky with Tom Massey getting the boot from his congressional seat. Andy Barr won the GOP nomination to be the next United States Senator, replacing Mitch McConnell. That was something Scott Jennings was being asked to at least consider at one point. My guess is that President Trump didn't say, Jennings, you're the guy, and so he didn't do it, and he went the book route and a radio show route, but he was certainly thinking about that for a while. But Andy Barr will then likely be the next Republican from Kentucky. We are always on a Wednesday afternoon most likely visiting with Alex Rich, who is with us this afternoon. He is boot-free, it looks like, with his toe injury. He was at the field, at Citi Field last night, right, doing the national anthem?
Did the national anthem again.
How'd that go? I got some audio. I haven't listened to it yet. Should we listen to it a little?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think I surprised myself here. Are you gonna?
I haven't.
Are you gonna give it a full play here?
I don't know about the. Well, so that's like disrespectful if I don't do the full play, isn't it?
Well, it's Alex.
It's
so
it's only been a minute and a half. But let me tell you
let's do the whole thing then.
The note I held at the end. Let's take.
All right, let's hear it. It's the 250th birthday of America. Let's play the whole thing, right?
Performing the U.S. national anthem is Alex Rich.
Oh, see. You see by the dawn's early light was so proudly revealed at the twilight's last gleam, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts watched were so gallantly streamed in the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in gave proof through the night that our flag was still there.
All right, big finish here.
Oh, sing us that star-spangled banner yet wave. Oh, the land of the free. And the home
Very nice. I'm not into
Nice
the whole
job.
blues,
Thank you.
the
Thank
same
you.
blues thing every time you're at a different game. Is
Yeah,
not
I
my
agree.
thing,
I didn't love that.
No, I hate it when they do. They do it at the Cardinals games too. Stop
Yeah.
it. Okay, do it at the Blues game.
I
Do it
agree.
at
I know,
other
right.
games. Like
That's weird.
I support an arrest for that. I'm sorry. A little jail time, a little shock time. But
agree.
that was a very nice
Thank you.
rendition.
Nicely done.
I heard a little flutter in your voice
liked
there in the
that?
middle. I like that a lot. That
And
was
I
good.
tell you, people are like, man, you held that, the free at the end
Yeah.
there. I'll tell you what, I didn't plan on that at all. But when I was out there, it was just feeling good. And I thought,
well,
I'm going
that's
to get
nice.
these people going a little bit.
So you had told us, when did you do this last time? Was it last summer?
It was about this same time last year.
So you admitted at the time, if I remember correctly, you were a little nervous, right? Which
It was
is
probably the
natural.
most nervous
Yeah.
I'd ever been to really do anything.
So what about last night?
Last night going into it, I was still kind of nervous, but once I got out there, I was like, you know what? I got to do my thing.
You didn't sound
I'm here
nervous.
for a reason.
Yeah, it sounded great. It was.
I
Really
appreciate
good.
it.
So I don't like to hear myself on the air.
Yeah.
How do you feel when you hear yourself singing on the air?
That's a good
I'd be
question.
really nervous still.
Well, let me tell you something. There is a massive delay. Okay, so there's really no way around it. And I don't know if you remember what's the guy that sings Alex Warren. The Grammys thing with the in-ears, and it was all off.
Yes,
okay?
yes.
So
my daughter's a huge fan of his, but yeah, he had his in-ear monitors, and it all went bad. Right.
Right. So I go at 5 o'clock for sound check, and this was the same kind of thing last year. But you do sound check, and the echo when you're down on the field inside that stadium is insane.
Wow.
I mean, it is at least a 3-second delay. So you're singing something, and then you're hearing it 4 seconds later. So they offer you the in-ears, but the ears that they have are also on a delay. So there's no way. There's no way that you can kind of get around it. So my way that I guess got around it was honestly kind of sang and played as loud as I could on the field myself, so that it was so loud that I could minimize the amount of echo that I was hearing. So, yes, sound check, it was super weird to hear myself sing and hear the echo and all that. But kind of once I started going, honestly, I was like, man, that sounds great.
Yeah, but that's got to be
awesome.
that's got to be distracting. I didn't even think about the delay.
So I asked him, I said, even like when real singers come and do this,
right?
Like as if I'm not like a real,
Well,
I'm like, when
it.
real singers come and do this, do they deal with the same thing? And they said, yeah, they do.
Huh.
So it's I'm sure like Charlie Puth at the Super Bowl. I can't imagine that was like an echo. I'm sure that they had like real time stuff there, but like, yeah, there's no way around it. Honestly, it's crazy. Have you ever spoken on a microphone like in a stadium? It's crazy.
I don't know that I have.
Yeah,
Fred,
that's
tough.
tough.
A good little. I'm all the things I've done in my broadcast career. I don't think I've been in a big room like with maybe even a couple thousand people, but not. We've been at the factory, but not.
It's
at
tough.
the
I will say
stadiums.
I'll give myself more credit. I will give myself a little bit of a pat on the back for that because it is harder than people think because of the echo in the stadium.
I
that's
don't
something I
doubt
never
that
thought
for
about
a
that.
second. Well, think about it. If we even just in our headphones
it's
when we
awful.
talk, it's so distracting that you can't do it. You have to take off your headphones.
To be honest with you, Annie, my wife, was on the field with me. So the video that we just played was somebody that was up in the stands.
Okay.
So they couldn't hear me actually singing it. They were just hearing what was coming out of
Right.
So Annie took a video, and you could kind of hear it kind of double time. So you can hear me singing, and then you hear the echo out. So it's tough. Like the first few rows, those people are hearing me play it as is, and then the rest of the stadium. But as long as it sounds good to the masses, and that's all that matters.
Here, can I ask you, did they pay you for that, or you just,
They don't pay you for it,
all right.
but
I wouldn't think so. But I mean, I don't know.
It's good street cred.
Yes, it is.
It's good street
now,
cred.
do you have
they gave me some tickets.
Where do you want to do it next? Oh, by the way, we should mention this because the team won last night too, right? And it was a big
game.
Penalty kick. Here, listen.
Number 16, Hector Herrera, up to shoot for Houston. Small run up. He shoots and Lute! Dive save! That's it! Ben Lute got the club going up on a Tuesday!
Yeah!
City into the Open Cup semi!
Wow.
Bob the backup keeper!
Who is that, Ethan?
That is Joey Zamboni.
Oh, that's Joey Zamboni,
radio
yeah.
voice
Stops
of
an
St. City.
all-time
Oh, yeah.
legend in St. Louis for the first time in club history. On to an Open Cup semifinal after a 2-2 draw and a 4-2 penalty penalty kick, shootout winner.
All right, there we go. I have no idea what any of that means, really, but it was very exciting.
It was
super stoked.
intense, man.
Do you know how the NBA does the in-season tournament?
Yes.
It's similar to that in the sense that the U.S. Open Cup has been going on for a very long time. It is an in-season tournament. The cool part about it is that it incorporates multiple levels of soccer. So even like technically a low-level soccer team could win this entire thing. Now, it doesn't happen very often. So it starts off with a bunch of teams that play all levels of soccer.
When you say low level, like Parkway West team
no,
or
no,
something
not
like that?
not high school, still professional, but like minor league equivalent is what I would say.
Okay, all right.
And St. Louis City has made its way through the ranks. We're on to, this was the quarterfinals last night. It's only MLS teams left. And they're not having a good year.
Right,
the regular season's
right.
been brutal. So for them to be able to make this run through it is giving the fans a little bit of life. It's been an encouraging
I like that.
sign.
All right, that's cool. Alex, I want to also ask you, because we've kind of talked about it quite a bit in the last couple of days, as you can imagine, but you obviously played baseball at the University of Indiana. The tarps off thing at Busch Stadium, incredible, isn't it?
It's something
the way
else.
that this has taken off.
It's crazy, man. And the energy, though, what's great about baseball specifically is because I know a lot of the questions have been like, they asked Ollie, like, what's it feel like? You guys feeling the vibe in the dugout and stuff like that? Like, baseball, I would personally, I mean, I'm biased to it. I think of all sports of, like, the goofiest dudes that play baseball. So, like, we love this type of stuff.
Right.
Like, you feel the energy. I used to, back since I was, I was backing up Schwarber, so I was more moral support from the bench.
Right.
So I did this thing called seventh inning frat. And we would do basically I would do ultimately a keg stand on the Gatorade.
Oh my God!
On the Gatorade deal there in the dugout, and it got people fired up. Did a little shirts off thing every once in a while, but that
was your thing, though.
That was like my thing, but like baseball players just love that energy. So like when they see the fans getting into this, like it's awesome. I love it.
Well, not only that, but like the way that they're finishing these games, and last night was a great representation of that because Riley O'Brien lets things go in the ninth inning, and he's done that a couple of times. Ethan was lecturing me though because overall he's been good, but I'm like, man, how long is this going to last? Because as Cardinals fans, we always focus on the negative. Right?
Mark said, "But like, can we get someone else to like do his job?" And I said, "There is no one else. We're supposed to be rebuilding."
I don't think Riley as our closer is sustainable, but that's we'll have to see.
What song?
None of this may be
sustainable. I know.
What song
do
they do when he comes in now? They
God.
They kind of turn the lights off.
Yeah, they turn the lights off.
Not
all
as
the
cool.
lights? Is it all the lights?
I don't know.
They did that at the beginning of the year.
It's
I know.
not.
They've done a couple different.
I mean,
ones.
Helsley was
Hell's Bells was
awesome, but this guy has something that he runs out to. It kind of gets people going.
I like that. I think it's cool for baseball.
Said this to somebody the other day. This may sound crazy. Ethan, tell me if I'm crazy. I might be. This kind of feels like one of those things that's just going to ignite the rest of it, like the squirrel in 2011.
Yeah, rally squirrel, right?
Yeah. Maybe it's the rally tarps. Rally tarps off. I don't know.
I said to Mark yesterday, this is going to be our generation's seat cushion night. This is going to be something we're going to look back on and remember 20 years from now. And listen, we just said a second ago, we know the expectations for this year. When you look at the last 10 Cardinals teams to start their year with this record, track record's pretty good. A lot of deep playoff runs, some World Series appearances in there. So I'm not saying that's going to happen, but recent history has said when you start off the season as well as the Cardinals have, good things have proceeded to follow.
Did you see that they made a section, an entire section?
We talked about it. Yeah, right.
Shirt's optional.
It's going to be
unreal.
Great.
You going to join?
I'm not. I don't think I should. Yeah. People don't want to see this.
Mark's little friend's going to join.
I'm a little concerned. I'm a little concerned.
Oh my gosh.
Alex isn't briefed on that yet, I don't think. I don't like the gender inequality here, though.
I think it's anybody that wants to take their shirt off, I'm open to it.
All right, that's good.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
We've got volume out there on southbound 55 through the construction zone. It's now from Arsenal down through Bates, and then things open up. Northbound is jammed like it's the morning at Bayless, and that's due to road work and lane restrictions. They've got the left lanes blocked. Now, eastbound 70 is jammed, headed for the 64 split on the Illinois side. At 64 eastbound jams approaching 255. That goes through 157. That due to road work. 70 out west, some moderate volume between 79 and Wentzville, but 64 is really heavy, and this is from Winghaven in pockets out through 70. Southbound 270 slowing at Olive, and then in pockets from Big Bend down through, it looks like Gravois now. And so that could be worse. I'm Sue Thomas, and that's Traffic 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Well, of course, we had an example throughout the region here a couple of nights ago where the power was out for a lot of folks. And if you have not taken this offer on for yourself, you really should, because if you go to Generator Supercenter of St. Louis.com, you can get a free estimate on a very high-quality Generac automatic standby generator. This is what they do at Generator Supercenter of St. Louis. It's the only thing they do, by the way. You have HVAC guys and other people who compete. They cannot provide the level of service and the maintenance for generators that are required. Sometimes they are illegally and sometimes dangerously installed. You don't want that. You want to go with Generator Supercenter. They sell, install, maintain, they monitor. Nobody else can do that. You get certified service maintenance and warranty work. So if you're interested, even just in an estimate, they have payment plans available as well. It's either a stop by the showroom in Chesterfield on the airport road, or you call 314-499-2020, or the website, Generator Supercenter of St. Louis.com. Do not wait for the next storm or outage. We know it can happen even with the power grid failing. So call Generator Supercenter today. Check out their offer, Generator Supercenter of St. Louis.com.
When it comes to family law, a lot has changed in recent years, so assumptions can be costly. If you see or sense a change coming in your family life that could have legal implications, it's important to know where you stand. Getting good legal advice early is never a bad idea. I'm Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell. If you or anyone you know is facing a family law issue, start with a consultation. Visit CordellCordell.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. 600 Kelwood, St. Louis.
Hi, I'm Missouri Governor Mike Kehoe with an important message from Missouri 811. Every day, underground utilities like gas, power, water, sewer, and fiber internet keep Missouri running. These vital services are the backbone of our communities, but digging without contacting Missouri 811 can put them and you at risk. It's fast, it's free, and it's the law. Contact Missouri 811 before you dig.
Every dig, every time. It's the law. This ad is brought to you by Missouri 811.
Welcome to Radio Rental. The scariest stories you've ever heard in your life. All told by real people. And off we go.
This wasn't a human being that I saw. There's something here in this house, something not of this world.
There was a woman moving through the hall. I stepped back and I was completely alone.
Radio Rental is available now. Listen for free on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Mark Reardon, Sue Thomas. This is the Mark Reardon Show.
Okay, some fun stuff after we do Sue's News, including something I've been wanting to share about Cars for Kids, because we all know that jingle, so that's coming up here in just a little while, but we got to do this.
These allegations are deeply concerning.
Does the president have any comment?
We're not going to comment.
It's not clear messaging.
No.
And now, Sue's News. Brought to you by Sue.
You guys, happy National Rescue Dog Day. I feel like we go through this. I think there must be different iterations of it. You know, it was shelter dogs last time. This is just rescue in general. And Mark has a whole slew of rescued animals, including is the bunny technically rescued?
Yeah, because the bunny would not be living the life of luxury, be outside
rescued
on a farm
from
in a
boredom.
cage. Yes.
Oh, yes.
The bunny lives the high life. There's no doubt about that.
True.
By the way, this was pretty cool. I went to see Triumph on Sunday night. Todd Kearns, the bass player, posted a picture. I got to hang with him after the show. Apparently bands do this. They had like a rescue group bring puppies out to them when they were doing the sound check the other day.
Oh, that's
how
so
awesome
cool.
is that?
Oh,
and
that's
apparently
so cool.
bands do that to kind of fill the time. They'll let the crews kind of hang out with the puppies and stuff like that. I think that's cool.
That's great. I would go home with one though. That's a problem.
That's what I was making sure before I went out there the other night, that the puppies were long gone, because I saw one that Todd was holding that was adorable.
On this, I'm not there yet. It's also National Be a Millionaire Day. So, just go out and do it. Alex, you're on your way.
I'd like to think I am. But if anybody's got a few that they want to lend us, I think I say us because I couldn't be selfish on this show.
Well, no, that's very thoughtful.
You have a little one on the way, too.
I do. Yeah, maybe I'll take all the millions then myself. take you to lunch
Fred,
every once in a while.
What do you need? Are you on your way? You're on your way. You're there. You're there,
No,
Fred.
No.
You think Fred's like a low-key millionaire?
I do.
You think he's
I
one of those
totally
guys?
think so.
Yeah.
I totally think so.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you can tell by my expensive clothing.
Yeah.
We're gonna
Yeah.
read we won't be around, Sue, but
No.
Alex, you'll still be around, and Fred will have left his entire fortune to like some rescue group or something like
Right.
that, right? It'll be like $5 billion.
Yeah.
We never knew. He just worked to the last day of his life, probably.
It's the
You're like Warren Buffett, aren't you?
Yeah.
Just unsuspecting.
Those who look like Lionel Richie Club. That's it. And it'll all be good.
Stop.
It's also National Sugar Bee Apple Day. Now, which is a brand, a specific kind.
I didn't know that. I don't know that one.
I prefer the Envy. Try an Envy apple. Have you anybody pay attention? I've not got the
I thought it was all
apple
about
shopper.
the Honeycrisp. That's
Honey
what I
Crisp
thought.
are
yeah.
great. Envy's good. Pink Ladies.
I like the Fuji's too.
Oh, I like a Fuji.
A Fuji's good.
This is very similar. Try an Envy. It's similar to a Fuji, only a little bit sweeter. I think you might like it. Sugar bee, but I like the little bee on the label. And it's National Pick Strawberries Day, which I like to do. Eckert's does that. I haven't been yet. Have you?
When is strawberry season?
We're in it.
Is that right?
Really?
Yeah, and it will go through like early June, so get out there now. You should take. Wonder if Alexa. Well, she
No,
might
that would be
on
kind
the-
of fun.
Yeah, I used to take the nieces, and they like the apple picking.
Like
and
when
the
I was a kid,
strawberries.
when you had to come up with things to do that didn't involve screens and stuff like that, we did apple picking every year.
Yeah, it's so fun.
Let me ask you this: when you have strawberries at your house, do you keep them in there as full strawberries, or do you pre-cut?
Oh, I keep them as full unless I'm making something specific, and then I'll cut. What are your thoughts?
Why do you have to pre-cut? Is that I don't know that.
Well, because you pre-cut, you cut the the green, the leaves.
I've never done
off.
that before.
Really?
Is there any advantage to
I
that?
always cut the
No,
green
I
off.
cut it before
Yeah.
I eat it, but he's saying before you even put it in the fridge, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You do,
Why?
don't you? Because
Oh, yeah.
it's easy to just open up and snack on.
Oh, okay.
good point.
That's
Right?
all it is for
Yeah.
being simple.
You're like that,
Exactly.
Fred.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah, all the
Interesting.
time.
Fred's leaving his money to me.
You know,
That's right.
dang it. Also, if you cut up a strawberry top, the green part, the dogs like it.
Is
Just
it
a little
good for
snack.
them?
Yeah, I don't know if it is, but mine love it.
Well, Oreo eats the whole thing. Oreo eats the whole strawberry, the bunny. He likes,
I
it
like
all.
the
You need
strawberry.
to start pre-cutting them for the bunny.
No, thank goodness.
I actually give him. That's what I do. I cut the tops off and I give him the tops.
Yeah, and
Oh,
then
yeah,
you
that's
eat
it,
the
yeah.
strawberry. It works out
Yeah.
well. On this day in history, 153 years ago, it's 1873, when Levi Strauss and Jacob Davis received a patent for blue jeans with copper rivets. And apparently jeans have old jeans have a really good sub-market. Like you could sell these.
Oh, yeah.
Apparently, yeah, like miners used to wear them. And if you can find an old pair of jeans, you can sell it for big bucks.
Really? They don't make them like they used to, huh?
No.
I don't think they do, Alex.
Yeah.
You know, back in the day, it would, and maybe this is still the case, but people in the Soviet Union, that was one of the things they most wanted was a pair of blue jeans, and they couldn't get it in their own country.
Yay, communism. And then on this day in history, we've been talking about Lindbergh today. It was on this day 99 years ago in 1927 when Charles Lindbergh took off from New York in the spirit of St. Louis in his attempt to become the first person to fly nonstop across the Atlantic. He landed safely the next day in Paris and was awarded the $25,000 prize. And hotel owner and aviation enthusiast Raymond Ortigue is the one who paid Lindbergh the $25,000 prize. It was known as the Orteig Prize. But we don't know how to pronounce it. Mark and I have
Sounds
used
good to
every
me, though.
possible. And it was offered in 1919. And this guy thought, we have got to figure this out. How are we going to do it? I'll put up some money.
Brilliant.
And this prize. And then everybody tried and went for it. And Lindbergh had $15,000 in support from people who
here
had
in
just,
St. Louis.
In
You had
St.
investors
Louis.
in St. Louis,
Yeah,
right?
it was impressive.
It really is when you think about it, especially 99 years ago.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm still impressed by it.
Yes,
that's what
Fred.
it impresses me that planes can even go, like, the amount of fuel, just thinking about how does he even do that?
You guys, and it was not that much earlier when the Wright brothers were out doing this. I mean, the leaps.
Yeah, like 15 years before that, right?
It's
Whatever.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I guess when you think of aviation and him doing it 90, we really haven't come that far. If you think about it, honestly, if you think about everything else that there is, the technology, phones.
Okay, well, we just circled the moon.
Yeah,
you know?
and, well.
But they were flying across the Atlantic 99 years ago.
I know, that's amazing.
It makes your brain hurt. It does. I know. I know what you're saying.
How are we not doing it quicker?
Right.
Well, I see what you mean.
In other words, why don't we have a channel from here to Paris under the water? Yeah.
What do you call the fast plane? Aren't they bringing it back? The
Concorde?
Yes. Isn't that coming
What's it
back?
go like? How fast is it?
Really fast.
I was going to say a number, but I was going to sound crazy.
We're not the authorities on this. We can't even pronounce the name of that prize.
Good
so
point.
we're not the ones to really be giving out the information here.
Google is changing its search box for the first time in 25 years. Yesterday, Google said the AI shift inspired it to overhaul the dimensions of the search bar for the first time since 2001. So the box is bigger, it's more interactive, so that people can ask even longer questions. You can upload photos or videos, ask questions vocally, use AI mode, and you can ask follow-up questions with a chat bot within the main
Looks the
search.
same to me. I'm looking at it. Looks
Well,
the
maybe
same.
it's coming.
Okay.
That seems complex, though. They said Google did say that they aren't officially forcing AI on anybody, but it's for straightforward stuff. We'll see. By the way, did you hear Nashville is officially getting the Super Bowl in 2030?
That's pretty fun.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, NFL owners voted yesterday to bring the event to Music City.
And it's rare for a non-dome stadium, in and of itself, really, to get picked.
Well,
It'd be
that's
a cool
true.
city, though.
Yeah. It would
The
be
amount of-
cool.
I bet the amount of just music activities that are going on there that week is
Watch,
going to
there'll be an ice storm, and the NFL will regret it till the
There
end
you
of the
go.
lines.
Oh, my gosh. That actually may happen. And finally, in Sue's news, we have today's random fact. Every Apple iPhone, iPad, and Mac computer shows the time as 9:41 a.m. in ads. Apple picked that time because it's approximately when Steve Jobs would make his biggest announcement during their presentations. So they put it in every single ad.
There you go.
Great fact.
Little
Isn't that
Sue's
weird?
News
It's a good
nugget
fact,
here
yeah.
for this Wednesday afternoon. We're coming back with more after Fox Business. Hang in there.
I'm Dan Loney with Your Money Now. Wall Street indexes with a strong day today, thanks in part to lower oil prices and bond yields. Dow Industrial Average added 645 points, ending the day at 50,009. The Nasdaq picked up 400 points. The S&P 500 gained 79. As for oil, West Texas crude down 5% at $98 a barrel. A housing affordability bill has passed in the House of Representatives on Wednesday. The bipartisan vote was 396 to 13. The bill will limit major investors who already own over 350 single-family homes from owning more. They still could build more homes. That bill, by the way, could face opposition from some senators. Airbnb has added several services for its customers, including hotel bookings, rental cars, and grocery delivery. CEO Brian Chesky says that the platform has the chance to be an Amazon for services like traveling and living. It's also adding some AI features, including adding a voice to its chatbot later this year. That's Your Money Now.
I know that hiring can be challenging. You sort through tons of resumes and you get too many so-so applicants. You're just waiting for someone to match your role perfectly. Well, now, there's a place where you can meet them fast. ZipRecruiter.
Need to hire right away. Start your search for strong candidates. The right fit awaits. Build your team. Build it sooner. Meet your match on ZipRecruiter.
Just head to ZipRecruiter.com/free right now to try it for free. And you're on your way to meeting your match. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. So try it now. Go to ZipRecruiter.com/free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Meet your match on ZipRecruiter. Try it free.
Data centers don't wait, and neither should your supply chain. From power and connectivity to racks and critical power, Graybar brings the products and the experience data centers need now. And with deep inventory and logistics expertise, we keep projects moving from first delivery to final install. With hundreds of locations and a nationwide delivery fleet, we help you bring facilities online, on time, and on budget. Yep, Graybar does that.
Chrysalis Biosciences in Sauget, Illinois is hiring for multiple roles. Join a fast-growing ethanol plant transforming renewable energy with competitive pay, benefits, and growth opportunities. Apply today and grow your career with Chrysalis at chrysalisbio.com.
Annie Fry here. If you're nearing retirement or already retired, call my friends Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw with the Retirement Advisory Group. They'll show you how linking to the market is much safer than owning the market for your retirement savings. They are the official financial advisors of my show. Go to retirementkey.com.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm, and Chuck McDowell definitely not an attorney. This is Chuck. If someone talked you into buying something really silly and you want to get out of that silly little thing, my advice, get the facts. Call me and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit absolutely free. Inside, you'll learn how timeshare works and all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free exit information kit. 800-948-7878. That's 800-948-7878.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
And this portion of the show at 4:33 sponsored by Jerry Kelly, Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
From Ellisville to Glen Carbon, 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
All right, it is a Wednesday edition of the Mark Reardon Show, hanging out here in the studio with the Hall of Famer Fred, Sue Thomas, and our friend Alex Rich. So I've been talking about this story for 2 days, and I haven't done it yet. At least in the studio, I've been talking about it. I found this over the weekend. I actually had an idea about this at one point, and no one went for it. But I think you all remember, and Alex, I think you remember this too, because we used to play it on KMOX all the time. The Cars for Kids jingle.
Sure.
You know the Cars for Kids jingle? Ethan said he wasn't familiar with that. I'm like,
wow,
really? Where in the world have you been?
How is that possible?
Here it is to get this in your head.
1877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars.
So I don't think we need to hear the whole thing, right?
don't.
But the bottom line is that thing used to get played over and over and over, like to the point where it was just driving people crazy. So when I was on, and this goes back maybe 7 or 8 years ago, Fred, I don't know if I even pitched this to you, but I thought it was a really good idea. I was going to go out and I was going to have, like, Johnny Holzum from the Well Hungarians is a friend of mine. He has a band. I was going to see if local bands or someone like you who's a singer-songwriter would recut that song in, like, even if it's like a punk rock version or something like that. I was just trying to have fun with it, but I was told by the sales department not to touch that at the time, right? So I'm like, okay, I thought it was a creative idea. Seriously, I'm like, I think this could be kind of fun. Nobody thought it was fun. You can't have fun when you're dealing with clients, apparently. But so this is interesting. It has now been banned in California from airing, period, because apparently it is misleading. Now, Alex, you do a podcast that is called Jews in the Lou, right?
I do.
So you might find this interesting. There's a California man that took this group to court saying that he donated an old car to Cars for Kids, thinking that its value would be used to help underprivileged children, because what they're trying to get you to do is don't trade in your old junk piece of car, give it to Cars for Kids, and it's going to go help kids, right? So what he didn't know is that the money generated from Cars for Kids is used to support, is it URA or OORAH? It's a Jewish organization that helps fund young adult trips to Israel. Are you familiar with that group, Alex?
I
or
haven't
not?
heard that. I do. I know the Birthright group that funds trips to Israel.
Right, because you did something like that, right?
Yeah.
So there was a court in Orange County that ruled late last week that this group, which is out of New Jersey, by the way, that they were misleading because they omitted the company's religious affiliation and hid the charity's true mission. The charity organization violated state laws against false advertising and unfair competition. They said that the failure to disclose that funds benefit adults and families and that this support is contingent upon a specific religious affiliation is a material omission. And I would say, no matter how you feel about the religious part of it, I don't think that that's true, right? I mean, you should at least be honest with people about what you're doing. Maybe you get you more donations. Who knows, right? So they said that Cars for Kids have to pull the advertisements from the state within 30 days. I think we're at a period right now where we don't have these. I don't hear them anymore. Like, Fred, do you hear them?
No, I don't.
Okay. They started in the 1990s. The way the LA Times wrote about this is they've been loved and loathed by listeners ever since. Apparently, they were featured in The Simpsons. I did not know this. Ura makes, and actually this sounds like a great organization, so don't misread this. They have a matchmaking program for Jewish kids, and they fund these gap year trips to Israel for 17 and 18-year-olds. And they use donations to, I guess, purchase a building in Israel, which might be controversial as well. But the story says that this happened in Pennsylvania and in Oregon, too, where they've sued the organization. They've had to pull the ads. But what happened with this guy is he had a 2001 Volvo XC, and it was non-operational and not under his name, but it was left in his care. And if you remember, the ads even said, look, even if it doesn't work,
I remember
drag it
that.
in, we'll give you some money for it, whatever. So the car was valued at $250,000. He said that he felt deceived when he found out that the money wouldn't help young children. So he sued the company back in 2021. He said, I feel taken advantage by the ad and the information was not there. And they finally went to court. So the Cars for Kids say no, blah, blah, blah. Of course, they're going to deny it. But it does seem to me like it's, that was surprising when I found out what was happening there. But at least we don't have to hear that jingle on a nonstop basis, right?
Good point.
So, look, I love this. This is really funny. Now, you probably, even Alex, younger people know this song because I think it's, they used to call it Rickrolled, right? Didn't they call this like Rick?
Yeah, they did.
Can you explain what Rickrolled means off the top of your head by any chance?
If you hear it, it just stays, it's like an earworm.
It's an earworm, but people used
you
to
pass it on,
right.
You surprise people, and then when they hear it, that it's stuck in their head.
Right. And so this is Rick Astley, Never Gonna Give You Up, which was a big song from the 1980s. So this dude, and I don't know who this guy is, but this is awesome. We used to have, and I think the guy still does it. You guys might remember this, and the listeners might remember. Dave Klein was great at grabbing the audio from this. There was this guy that lived out there on YouTube, and what he would do, he got so sick of porch pirates that he created this device that people would steal off the porch, and it had a fart smell, and it would make noise, and there was a camera in there, so you could see the reaction of the thieves, right?
Loved it.
And this guy did this for years. He may still do it, right? It was awesome.
Glitter. He would have glitter bombs.
Oh, my God. It was just amazing. It was one of the more fun things that I'd seen on an annual basis. So this is a bit of a piggybacking off some of that from this perspective. There was a dad, and look, I think we all, in an era where we're not supposed to get these spam calls and stuff like that, I get spam calls like all the time. I pretty much don't answer the phone if I don't have that person in my contact, and then if it seems like the person is legit, I'll call them back. But we know how the spam calls exist. So this dad came up with a great idea, and he used the Rick Astley song. He's explaining to his daughter here. So listen what happens. Basically, in a nutshell, you'll hear him roll this out. If a spam caller calls him, he's calling him back.
So I get all these spam calls on this phone number all the time, right? Yeah, a bunch of them, right? So what I've done is I've created a script in JitBit. What this is going to do is it's going to call them back, right?
See, his daughter is right there with him.
It's going to wait for them to answer.
Thank you for calling Express Flooring.
It's going to interact with the prompts automatically. And when they answer, it's going to play Rick Astley, Never Gonna Give You Up.
But it's even better than that. Listen to where he goes with this.
So now, and then he hung up. But see, what you don't know.
This is the best part.
See, what you don't know about this script, though, is that I have it on repeat. It's a zero loop integer I put in here. So it's going to keep calling them back over and over. It's going to keep doing this forever until they're forced to block my phone number.
Transferring now.
So he's rolling this out. He's showing his daughter, basically a computer screen, and he's kind of walking her through it at a very elementary level, which maybe applies to the rest of us as well. But yeah, so it automatically calls and it keeps calling them back.
Eliminating them from ever spam calling me because they have my number blocked.
Please press 1 to schedule a free consultation for customer service. Transferring now. This call may be recorded for quality and training purposes.
It's still going.
Yeah.
Hey, this is Jerry with Express Flooring, scheduling specialist.
Poor guys at Express Flooring, man.
That's pretty good. This is so satisfying. I think I just found my new favorite thing in the world. And it's just going to keep on calling them all day long. Yeah, go ahead and answer. I'm never going to give you up. I'm not going to stop until you block my phone number.
He's like eating cereal when he's doing this. It's like a little hobby.
Yep. Yep.
Oh my God, I love that so much. Is that not brilliant that,
Yeah,
you can use
it
your little
is.
coding
That's
skills
great.
or whatever and program that thing to call people back time and time and time again. Sometimes I feel like, every once in a while, like we had the cars, you guys know this, we had the cars in service. Actually, my car is still getting repaired from getting, rear-ended. So every once in a while, I'll answer a call thinking, oh, that's like the mechanic and I
Yes.
don't have them programmed in or something like that. But it never fails. It's always the spam call.
Sure.
And, they call from local numbers,
Yep.
right? And they sometimes, I've had this happen. I don't know if you guys have had this happen. It's happened to me. Now that I think about it, it hasn't happened recently. But this sometimes happens where, not unlike what that guy is doing, some of these spam calls feature the same technology, because what they'll do is they'll call you, you see the number, you hang up, and then it dials again. And I've had people call me back as many as 4 times. And all I'm doing is just hanging up. At a certain point, I think what I do is I answer it and then I hang up. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Because I think that might tell the computer
Stop
that-
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it gets so annoying that these things still happen, because we were supposed to live in an era where, all this stuff, if you report the no call list and all that stuff. But we still have a lot of spam callers. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah. It's not about the spam callers, but it is about Rick Astley. I saw him in concert randomly.
Did you really?
A couple of years ago. He was here for like I don't even know what the show was. It was like him and New Kids on the Block and another couple groups. Like, it was just a bunch of like random, I don't know, 90s, 80s, 90s like people that were here in concert. And he came out and did that song probably 6 different times throughout the night. And that was the
That's
only song.
hilarious.
So it's funny that guy keeps calling on repeat and playing that song, because like literally Rick Astley came out and Rick rolled, everybody 6 different
I
times.
think I remember
Yeah.
you sharing that
Yes.
story.
Yeah.
To embrace it. It's the
What's-
only way.
Why if you got one song that's great, why do you need any others?
Yeah, no, I think I've said this before. At one point, I said something. I think it was Nils Lofgren, who is the guitar player for the E Street Band. I said something about someone having a one-hit wonder, and they quickly and swiftly corrected me, saying, "Hey, look, you got one hit. That's a big deal.
Yeah.
Like, if you could have a top 10
Totally.
hit, even if it's one hit, that is a big, big deal." All right, I have one more piece of audio I want to share, and this one is fascinating. So there was an exchange that happened. It looks like it was like at a Walgreens or a CVS drive-through pharmacy. It involves a trans man and a woman who is having none of it. Jen Say from XXXY posted this, and it is great audio. I'm going to share it next.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
On the roads tonight, we have had some slowdowns, and 55 southbound is one of them. It's Arsenal down through Bates, just in the construction zone. Northbound, they've been taking another left lane, especially around Bayless, and it's caused a jam. Southbound 170 is slowing, and right now it's approaching Delmar down through 64. We've got westbound 70 slowing, especially around 141 at K, and then in pockets Lake St. Louis Boulevard out through Wentzville. 6440, it's Kings Highway out through McCausland. At 270, it's a slow go, a little bit at the Boone Bridge, and then Highway N on out. Now, southbound 270, that's slow pockets from Page down through Doherty Ferry. It's also just a little bit slow at Gravois. And let's see, on the Illinois side of jam, eastbound 64 between 111 and 157. I'm Sue Thomas, and that's traffic. 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Hey, St. Louis, this is Brian Kilmeade. You know, I always have a great time when I visit you guys, and I'm coming back this November. So join me, Brian Kilmeade, by getting tickets for the show at The Factory at 971talk.com/events.
Why do the national tax resolution firms need the tiny fine print at the bottom of all their TV ads? Hi, this is Lance Drury with the Lance Drury Law Firm. You don't hear fast-talking disclaimers in our ads because the claims we make are 100% transparent. The Lance Drury Law Firm primarily focuses on one thing, IRS problems, and we're regulated by the Bar Association, and we have a AAA rating with the Better Business Bureau. IRS issues are serious legal issues. The Lance Drury Law Firm has helped thousands of clients navigate the best resolution plans, and we tell you up front exactly how much it'll cost. Tax resolution law is all we do. So before you send money to some out-of-town, high-pressure salesperson, give us a call at the Land Story Law Firm, located right here in St. Louis. Call today to schedule your free consultation with me, 314-260-6120, or visit LanceDruryLaw.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Hey, it's Annie, and I'm here with my friend Stewie from Stewart's American Mortgage. Stewie, if there's one thing I know, it's that people are looking for cash right now. And the mortgage being the biggest bill that most people have, is it the right time to refinance or even just restructure their current mortgage?
You know what, Annie? My wife came over to me yesterday and said, you know what, honey? I love you, and your love gives me thrills, but unfortunately, it don't pay my bills. So here's what we're going to do. Do the bagel loan. If you financed your house over the last 3 years, rates are lower today than they've been over that period of time. Call me. We can refinance, save you hundreds, if not thousands of dollars a month. Now, many people out there think they have a low rate, but maybe you're paying the PMI or maybe you have an FHA loan. You have to look at the total picture, and that's the mistake people make. They say, hey, I'm in a great position. I can't do better. Wrong. 9 out of 10 people that call us with the same conversation, hey, I'm just calling you just to see. We end up refinancing them and saving them lots of money.
Call Stewie at Stewart's American Mortgage, and remember the bagel loan, no closing costs, 314-324-4440. Google the bagel loan, NMLS number 226715.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting truly great candidates for your roles? It seems impossible to find them, but they have to be out there somewhere, right? Well, they're not hard to find when you know where to go, and that place is ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. And because these people are actively looking for jobs just like yours, it's easy to find the right person right away. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. But if you're not using ZipRecruiter, you're missing out. So see what it's like when the impossible is easy. When you go to ZipRecruiter.com/radio right now to try ZipRecruiter for free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. Never miss out on great candidates with ZipRecruiter.
Want to make the most of your tax refund? File with TurboTax on Intuit Credit Karma. They help you get your biggest refund, and then we help you do more with it with a personalized plan designed to help you hit your money goals. Start filing today in the Credit Karma app.
This is the Mark Reardon Show on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Hey, Alex, this was kind of an audible, but you're a big music guy. I should mention this. I am seeing Nikki Glaser and David Spade at Caesars on Saturday night, so I'm doing a little comedy thing, and which is weird. I've never even seen Nikki Glaser here, and I've never even met Nikki Glaser. We've never had her on the show, have we, Fred?
No.
Which is kind of weird, but I think she knows Charlie Brennan. I think she was on Charlie's show, and I've always, back in the day, I didn't like to poach guests, but I've been with her like at a movie screening because she's been in town, and I've seen her. But I like her comedy, so we decided to go to Caesars and see those two. And then this was kind of an audible just because I didn't have it on my radar, but No Doubt is doing a residency at Sphere, and we're going to go Sunday night and see that. And
awesome.
The reviews are really, really good.
Yeah, I've seen No Doubt years ago at the old. I think we still call it the Riverport Amphitheater.
Of course we do. Of course we do.
Yeah,
Name
she's
a big
great.
song.
No Doubt. Oh my gosh, hella good. You know all the
I don't
old
know
songs
any of the
from
names necessarily of the songs,
I
but
know I'm not good at that either.
if you heard them, Fred, you'd know them.
Oh, you would
I'm, I'm not good at instant recall like that, but I promise you would.
Don't
you would know it.
speak.
Yeah.
Okay, I know
Don't
that's
speak.
it.
That's
Yeah,
a good one. There
My
you go.
favorite one is "It's My Life." Ooh,
Oh,
that's
okay,
a great
yeah,
song.
That
that's a
might
big
be one of their biggest hits right there. So my fear, though, is like if you watched The Voice when Gwen was on, and then she got together with Blake. They're a couple. They're a thing now. Gwen's face
They are
is
married.
separate from. Are they?
Yeah.
They're married. Gwen's face is a little different than the rest of Gwen's body. Like it arrives maybe 3 or 4 seconds later. So we'll have to see. Well, there's a fair amount of plastic surgery is what I'm saying.
Oh,
I
I
believe.
see.
Yeah.
I see.
It's like I was watching the finale last week of American Idol, and I can't be the only one that noticed this about Ryan Seacrest. Ryan Seacrest's face
He looks crazy,
No,
doesn't
he
he?
does.
It looks like he's the Joker.
Right.
I know, you're right.
But so, what happened?
Well, have you
Somebody-
seen Randy Jackson? Sorry, have you seen Randy Jackson
No.
lately?
Oh no.
Dude, I mean, he was a big dude.
Yeah.
Now he is like so overly skinny. It's like people are very concerned about him.
Does he have
Ozempic,
Ozempic?
Randy?
Yeah.
Oh, Ozempic
Somebody
Randy, yeah.
suggested Ozempic face.
Yeah, Ozempic face is a thing.
But it is. But Seacrest, why would he be
Right.
taking GLP-1? I don't know. It's weird because it was distracting to me when I saw him. I'm like, your cheekbones are like in
He was a
fixed
good-looking
position.
guy, you know?
Yeah, I don't know
He's-
what happened.
he's- yeah, it looks
All right,
rough.
Let me play this audio here because this is pretty good. So there's a woman. Okay, there's a woman. I believe she's an African-American woman, Hispanic. You'll see, or you'll hear this in a second. She is in a drive-through for a CVS or a Walgreens, and they're on a break or something like that. So the blinds are down. She's waiting for the pharmacy to open. Maybe it's just opening first thing in the morning. And there is a we'll call him a man because he's a man, who gets into it with her and tries to shame her for sitting there and waiting for the pharmacy to open because he seems to allege that she jumped in line ahead of him, all right?
What do you need? I'm sorry, I didn't realize that we were supposed to sit here, especially since you were behind me, so now you want to go ahead? I'm just going to block you, and now you're not going to go anywhere today till I get here. How's that?
Nobody's answering, so how is this my fault?
It says till 2 o'clock. Maybe if you'd roll your goddamn window down, you'd hear it. You
Okay, so...
up here who don't hear that message because you're busy playing on your phone.
All right, so he's out of his car at this point. He's in front of her car.
no.
She's in the driver's side of her vehicle. His vehicle is to the right, and he's out of it. So he comes up to her car.
So what do you have to do here? What do you have to do here if it's open at 2? Why are you here?
Because I'm here to pick something up, too.
Okay, so if it don't
I'm here
open
to
till
pick up something
2.
for an elderly family member.
Okay, so if it don't open,
doing?
if it don't open at 2, then how the hell are you going to pick up your medicine?
Yeah, so that's a very good question. But what he seems to allege that she skipped the line, but it gets really good here in a second. So just wait for it.
Answer me that.
Easy. I'm right in front of that thing. How are you going to get it?
Okay, can you get the off my car? Thank you, sir.
Actually, it's man, but...
Oh,
Yeah, thank you, sir.
there it is. It's a misgendering. And she doubles down. You got to hear that part again because it's the best part of it whatsoever. Here we go.
Car? Thank you, sir.
Actually, it's man, but...
Yeah, thank you, sir. Like I said.
Sir? Oh, really? Sir?
Thank you.
Sir? You want to keep saying sir, You want to keep saying sir, Piece of You want to keep saying sir? Are you a Trump voter?
What are you going to do?
Listen.
Are you a Trump voter?
No, the I'm not.
Oh,
But what the are you going to do? What are you going to
Are
do?
you a MAGA?
What are you going to do?
You sound like a MAGA.
But you touching my like you own it. Do you own it? Do you own it? Okay, but why are you touching my
So she gets very angry here, and I don't blame her.
stuff? Clearly, you was just
He reaches his hand in her car.
I have you. Bro, I'm not even playing. I'm not playing.
So that gets pretty bad. But she calls him at the end. Did you hear that? She calls him bro. Now, there's a very important takeaway from this, and I'm being very serious, okay? Because that's amazing audio, and he is a he, and it's embarrassing. And I don't know what is wrong with some of the trans community. You want to do your thing. You want to cut your penis off and do all this. Do it, but leave the rest of us alone. Okay, but here's what's important. Remember when he asked her, "You a MAGA?" She's the furthest away from MAGA that you would ever imagine. You know why? Because she's a Democrat, probably, and she votes for Democrats, which illustrates the point. Normal people, whether they're Republicans or Democrats, they don't care. They don't buy into your trans BS, and they don't want any part of that mental illness. So leave them out of it. I love the way she doubled down, and she calls him bro. Good for her, because he's a dude. So it's utterly ridiculous. Jen Say from XXXY posted that earlier, and I'm going to pair it with this. Now, I think that this is a joke, okay? I think this is something that isn't real, but it's kind of funny because what they did is they went out there and they did this ad for, Sue, when we have people that are on the podiums, and you have this A.B. Hernandez, who's a boy, who's smoking all these girls in California. Sometimes the girls will not stand up on the podium. So what they created, and I think this is parody, but maybe not, is a podium for the girl to stand in and the boy.
Introducing Podium.
An inclusive podium with a first place wide enough for a deserving female and an undeserving male. Podium lets me stay neutral
I don't have to have awkward conversations anymore.
while girls take the L. Brilliant.
Podium teaches my girls protecting boys' feelings is more important than fairness.
Podium by Equity Sports.
Because protecting girls' sports was never worth the unpleasant emails.
Because some first places need a little more him.
Podium for girls' sports only.
Of course!
Fairness sold separately.
And again, I believe that's satire and parody, but it's really good. And what they did is they showed a podium, and then the middle of the podium had, a spot for a girl and a spot for a boy. Brilliant. Alex, good to see you. Have a great
Great to see
weekend.
you
Enjoy your
guys.
holidays.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Westbound 70 looks good out of downtown, but it does slow around 141, and then some pockets of moderate volume out through Wentzville. And it's mainly moderate volume on westbound 64, Kings Highway out through McCausland, a little bit at 270, mostly, though, at Highway N. Now, southbound 270, slow pockets Page, down through just before Gravois. 55 southbound jams from Arsenal down near Bates in the work zone, and northbound in the construction zone too is slowing, especially around Bayless. Heavy traffic on the Illinois side, eastbound 70 at 64 and eastbound 64 111 through 157. I'm Sue Thomas, and that's traffic. 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
All right, coming up on our regular Wednesday visit with our friend Duane Patterson. He wrote a great column that posted on hotair.com today about the boondoggle that is high-speed rail in California. He'll also weigh in on Tom Massey's defeat and more.
Men, if you're suffering from erectile dysfunction or PE, you're not alone. Most importantly, you don't have to live with it. Paramount Men's Medical Center restores men's sex lives in just one visit. Their painless breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE, even when Viagra and Cialis don't work. Here's Dr. Simovitz, specialist in men's health.
Paramount Men's Medical Center's painless breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE, regardless of age or medical history. 98% of patients see instant results right in the office.
Men are now lasting longer than they ever imagined. And the best part, at Paramount Men's Medical Center, your consultation and first treatment are free. Qualified patients even get their testosterone checked free. Call 314-887-4333. 314-887-4333. Take control of your sex life. Call now. 314-887-4333.
I'm Ultima Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Every time one of my children started driving, it was terrifying. Thousands of accidents happen across the country. We see it every day. If you've been injured in a car accident, call us.
Dial #law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Hi, I'm Bob Kershaw with Retirement Advisory Group.
Hi, I'm Tammy Kershaw. When we meet our clients for the first time, they have built up a lifetime of savings. Their question is, what can we do with this money so we can live comfortably the rest of our lives? First, we develop a strategy to protect your nest egg from any market losses. Then we build your own personalized structured income plan that will generate you an income the rest of your life. We put you in control of your money.
You've earned it, and it's our job to make sure you enjoy it. Let our team show you how you can have the retirement of your dreams. Call us now at 314-993-9494 for a no-cost, no-obligation retirement review. You will also get a copy of our latest edition book, Your Key to a Worry-Free Retirement. We've been helping retirees and pre-retirees retire with confidence for 40 years. Call us now at 314-993-9494 or go online at retirementkey.com. That's retirementkey.com.
Mark Cox here. Bring your home back to life with Zero Res. Get 3 rooms of carpet clean right now, starting at just $139, and whole home air duct cleaning starting at just $599. Visit ZeroResSTL.com and tell them 97.1 sent you.
Meet Linda. She's stuck in a school pickup line, thinking about what to make for dinner. Are the kids' practice jerseys clean? If she sent out that last email before leaving work. But you know what she's not thinking about? Her HVAC system. Linda is a preferred partner with Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Installation. Members get 2 HVAC system checks per year. We clean and inspect your HVAC systems at each visit. Partners also get priority service and exclusive discounts starting at just $19 per month. Life is chaos, but with Air Comfort Service, you'll have peace of mind with your HVAC system. Visit aircomfortservice.com today. After all, comfort is our middle name.
Never miss a beat. Take 97.1 FM Talk with you. The voices you trust, Mark Cox, Annie Fry, Mark Reardon, Scott Jennings, and more are just a tap away with the Odyssey app. Stream 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
We got Duane Patterson coming up, Christian Toto at the bottom of the hour, plus an audio cut of the day and more. Third hour of the Mark Reardon Show on a Wednesday coming up next.
KFTK FM Florissant from the Kaufman Townsley St. Louis's Injury Lawyers Studio. Call 314-777-7777.
That's 314-777-7777.
A Castro in Cuba gets indicted. I'm Tom Rigotti, Fox News. A former Cuban leader is under U.S. indictment. Fox's Evan Brown with details.
A federal grand jury in Miami indicts 94-year-old former Cuban dictator Raul Castro for allegedly ordering the shooting down of 4 Miami-based civilian pilots participating in the 1996 Brothers to the Rescue humanitarian flights in international airspace.
Nations
and their leaders cannot be permitted to target Americans, kill them, and not face accountability.
Acting U.S. Attorney General Todd Blanche, speaking in Miami, Cuba's embassy in the U.S., in a series of social media posts, claims the humanitarian nature of the flights were phony and the pilots invaded Cuban airspace.
President Trump says he's not rushing a permanent ceasefire with Iran.
We're going to give this one shot. I'm in no hurry. You never think, oh, the midterms, I'm in a hurry. I'm in no hurry. Ideally, I'd like to see few people killed as opposed to a lot.
Traffic is still more or less stalled in the Strait of Hormuz as both the U.S. and Iran continue to halt activity. Fox Business Network's Ashley Webster reports from Tel Aviv.
Iran says in the last 24 hours, 26 vessels have passed through the strait, including 3 tankers, 2 from China, 1 from South Korea, carrying an estimated 8 million barrels of crude oil. Analysts say that Tehran is allowing vessels from favored nations to pass through. The U.S. naval blockade also continues to prevent any ships from entering or leaving Iranian ports.
Oil prices have spiked since the start of the U.S. strikes on Iran, though they fell a bit today after Trump suggested talks were in their final stages. President Trump appears to be losing some support among Republicans. A new AP Norc poll finds about 6 in 10 Republicans approve of how the president is handling the economy. That's down from about 8 in 10 in February before the Iran war began. America is listening to Fox News.
My dad passed away unexpectedly. Of course, it was awful in every way, but we are very grateful that he had life insurance. So even after he was gone, he was still able to provide for us. And that's why I have life insurance for my family. Ethos.com. They make it fast and easy to get covered. It's 100% online. You get a quote in seconds, and you can apply in minutes. You get covered the same day.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/save. That's ethos.com/save. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required. Rates may vary.
Here's a tale of Becky. Didn't know what to do with new meds prescribed and no real cost clue.
She squinted at prices, that can't be right. Then tapped GoodRx and saw the light.
She can get a deal. Book telehealth if she feels.
Learn about those meds without any stress. That one little app does all the rest. Even my horse downloaded it. Dang, save time and money on prescriptions.
Check GoodRx. GoodRx is not insured.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation. Weather.
Cloudy and cool this evening, hanging right around 60 degrees. We'll turn partly cloudy late tonight, and it's chilly. 52 for the low. Thursday, partly sunny skies. Cool start out the door early morning, but a nice afternoon, 73. Thursday night, more clouds take over, 57. Friday, scattered showers and a couple of thunderstorms. Nothing strong or severe, and 72. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
This hour of the Mark Reardon Show is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts. Your trees deserve the best care. Call Gamma Tree Experts. This is the Mark Reardon Show on 97.1 FM Talk.
Hey, one quick correction as we get into the 5 o'clock hour. During Sue's News, we were talking about, she had a little blurb about the Super Bowl coming to Nashville. And one of the comments that I made is that's unusual because it's an open-air stadium. And we had listeners that reminded us that they are building a dome stadium. And they started that in 2024. It is due to be, I think, ready in 2027. And they announced that the Super Bowl will be there in 2030. It will have a... Sue just described this to me because she pulled it up, a translucent, like sort of a clear top to it. So we'll see where that's going to take us down Nashville. But that makes us, it makes a lot more sense. I wasn't sure why the NFL was going back to open air stadiums. So that was just something I kind of forgot about at the time. Duane Patterson is back with us this afternoon. You can read what he writes at hotair.com. He's the host of the Duane's World podcast. How are you this afternoon?
I am great, and hello, Sue. Good to see you.
Sue's actually not sitting here, so you wasted your hi, Sue, when she's not even here.
I wasted my hi, Sue, yet again. But yeah, you're right about the stadium. It's going to be a dome stadium, and unlike California, the thing is actually going to get built.
Yeah. Well, I started my day with your, and by the way, I love this topic because I've talked about it over the years as well, because really, you know, it's a huge boondoggle, and there's no doubt about it. I mean, it's one of the biggest in probably the nation's history, if you think about it. But because the numbers will, and you're going to give some of the numbers here, they make your brain hurt, right?
Yes. Oh, yes, absolutely. This is the little train that couldn't. This is the Scamtram, the train from nowhere to nowhere. That is California's high-speed rail attempted project, which is boondoggle with a whole bunch of zeros in there where billions of dollars have disappeared. One of the things that I didn't know this because you're in California, but some of this history with this stuff goes back to 1982. Yes. In 1982, the California state legislature, we have a bicameral legislature here, they spent the first of what would be hundreds of billions of dollars that they're committing. They spent $2 billion in 1982 to study a line that went from Los Angeles to San Diego, about a 120-mile run, which is sorely needed, actually. If they could actually pull that sucker off, there's a lot of people that would ride that because if you've ever driven in SoCal, it's not fun. But how could you have $2 billion just for a study? Well, you've got the environmental impacts, you've got the different land uses. You've got to deal with going at the federal government because in order to get to San Diego from Los Angeles, there's about a 30-mile stretch that is known as Camp Pendleton, and you can't get through there. There's only one artery that goes through Camp Pendleton right now, and that's Interstate 5, and that's where the federal government decided to carve a little lane for the international highway system. Outside of that, you can't get north to south unless you go across a giant military base. And so they had to throw a bunch of money at how to navigate that. And then they decided we can't. So now we're at a point where, look, in 2008, voters actually went to the ballot to approve $33 billion for high-speed rail, right? And that was going to be from L.A. to San Francisco. That was going to be from L.A. to San Francisco, and it was supposed to be done by, I think, 2020 originally, and of course that didn't happen. They have not actually laid a foot of actual track. This is stunning. What they have done is they have laid some quarter mile long concrete footings where track might go one day, but right now it looks like Stonehenge going up the Central Valley. They have laid some track from the main terrestrial railroad line that can feed cargo to where the train's going to eventually be, so that eventually one day you might be able to bear some supplies to the construction site. So they've got little sidelines, but it's not high-speed rail. They haven't built a lick of high-speed rail, and it's been 25 years. And what? Yeah. So the voters went 18 years ago. So what are we looking at for the entire price tag without even laying any tracks now? How many billion? It's now up to $128 billion on the low side. The problem is that California has got internal documents which naturally have leaked, and they've revised their estimate, and they think that it's actually going to probably cost $215 billion to eventually do it, and it's not going to get done before 2040, 2045 at the earliest. Unreal. Look, I've said this before. We have this like microcosm of what you're talking about here in St. Louis with something that's called Metrolink. I mean, nobody rides it. They've tried to expand it. Luckily, that's been shot down. There's not enough, money. We can't get the federal money for this because it's a big waste of money. But whenever I read about this thing in California, I'm just stunned that it's taking so long and they can't get anything done. Because look, I've ridden. So you've been to Europe, right, Duane? I'm guessing you have too. You've been on the high-speed rail. It's awesome over there. I wish that maybe as a nation we had something that was along the lines of what we did in the post-World War II period, maybe in the early 1980s, to say, look, this is something we should put as a national, priority, but we didn't do that. So now you have states doing it piecemeal like this, and it's not worth the money. And by the way, by the time they ever get this done, won't we basically be flying in spacecraft from L.A. to San Francisco? Well, or people are going to have the flying. They're going to have the flying cars, right? Right. We're going to have Mr. Fusion in the back of the DeLorean by then.
Well, I mean, I say that only half jokingly because you think about that much. I mean, we only had the iPhone since 2008. That's when people voted 33 billion. 18 years later, you go 20 more years into the future, you have a hard time convincing me that we're going to need high-speed rail. Let's talk some politics, Duane. Tom Massey, Kentucky, sent packing last night.
I would have come out sooner, but I had to call my opponent and concede, and it took a while to find Ed Galrein in Tel Aviv. I did get the call through, though. I have called and conceded the race. We've been honorable the whole time, and we're going to stay that way.
I played that cut to Brian Kilmeade earlier. My favorite part is that he's talking about being honorable after making a crack like that about, Tel Aviv and the Jews. That is unreal.
It's the Jews. It's always the Jews. He is going out in much the way he came in. There is nothing honorable or classy about naked anti-Semitism. I mean, and that's what animates the Democratic Party up and down the nation. I mean, you've got a guy in Maine running for Senate who's got an actual Nazi tattoo on his chest.
Yeah, Graham Plattner, right?
So and you've got this guy Tom Massey, who was the Democrats' darling because he voted with them more times than he did with the Republicans. And he's now saying that Ed Galrein is financed by Jewish money. And have you heard about this crackpot down in Texas 35 in this runoff down here?
No, I have not.
Her name is Maureen Galindo. Now, Texas, they redrew their maps, right? They added 5 new seats that are potentially friendly to Republicans. Well, there's an open seat that's a newly carved out district called Texas 35. It's, I think, near San Antonio, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
And there are the Republicans already been nominated, but the Democrats, they couldn't establish supremacy, so they've got a 2-Democrat runoff coming up between a guy named Johnny Garcia and, remember this name, Maureen Galindo. Okay. Maureen Galindo has campaigned. One of her actual quotes in an article is, once that she is elected and the Democrats take over the Congress, they are going to take the ICE facility, the detention center that's in San Antonio, and they are going to rework it and literally turn it into a place where American Zionists are held.
Yeah, so Michelle Goldberg, who is a columnist at the New York Times and one of the more liberal people, which is, hard to compete at the New York Times, she actually even wrote a comment about this saying Democrats can't let this anti-Semitic sex therapist win her runoff. But you're saying she might.
She might. She's in the running. Now, here's the fun part about this. There's been, over the last decade, 12, 14, 15 times where Democrats and Democratic super PACs have played Operation Chaos trying to get the most wacko Republican possible nominated so that they're easier to beat in a general campaign. They've done that in House races. They did that in the Senate race with Claire McCaskill.
Well, sure, right here with Todd Aiken. That happened, when
Todd Aiken, right.
I was going to bring that up, but you beat me to it. That's our St. Louis connection to that, yeah.
So absolutely. So Democrats have done this literally over a dozen times in the last decade. In this case, there is now a Republican super PAC that has figured out how anti-Semitic and crazy this person is, and they're feeding her money to try to get her the nomination so that she's beatable in the fall. And this is like one of 3 times Republicans have done this over the last decade. And all of a sudden now you're getting voices like Hakeem Jeffries and AOC crying foul, saying, I can't believe Republicans are doing this. They must stop this immediately. We can't allow this. We can't let Republicans pick our candidates for us. It's just wild how this is going.
So,
but she is an anti-Semite's anti-Semite.
So as I pulled up the Michelle Goldberg comment, it's interesting because she even writes, about this point about the right PAC, the right-wing PAC being behind the Republicans. If conservatives are indeed behind lead left, which is the PAC, which is also spending in Democrat primaries in Nebraska and Pennsylvania, they should be condemned for cynically helping an apparent anti-Semite. But she even says, but the right didn't make anyone vote for Galindo. It didn't make the third and fourth place finishers in the Democrat primary endorse her. Galindo's rise demonstrates how, without the right leadership, even justified rage and despair can curdle into hateful paranoia. That's an interesting take
correct.
from a lefty
Absolutely
lunatic at the New York
correct.
Times.
Yes, that's absolutely spot on correct. You can run ads. You can do independent expenditures till the cows come home. Democrats pulled the lever for her, and in enough numbers that she is the presumptive nominee if she clears this runoff hurdle. And
Interesting.
And you see, but that's the problem with the Democratic Party. Yes, Republicans in some quarters, they've got an anti-Semitism problem. You can look at Tucker Carlson. You can look at electeds like Tom Massey. But what do we do with those? We usually kind of kick them to the curb where they belong, right? We get rid of them eventually. What do Democrats do with their anti-Semites? They line up behind them.
Yeah, they embrace them, unfortunately. And, I mentioned this to Kilmeade earlier, too. We're going to have a little litmus test here in St. Louis with Cori Bush trying to run and get her seat back against Wesley Bell. And I checked in with some people in the know today and just said, hey, is there any polling on this? And apparently, Wesley's favored, but high single digits. Well, high single digits, you could still get an upset if you get a turnout of anti-Semitic people and nut job progressives, which is what Cori Bush is trying to do by bringing people like Hassan Piker in. So, I don't want to underestimate her because a lot of us missed this the last time when she ran against Lacey Clay. Well, not the last time, but when she first came into office many years ago. We didn't see that coming, right? I mean, that was really a surprise for a lot of us here in St. Louis.
Absolutely.
So it'll be interesting to see what happens on that. Now, on the topic of Trump, I just saw some numbers flashed up on the Fox screen, which don't look too good for Trump when it comes to approval numbers, whether it's on Iran or the economy. But here's what he said today about Iran.
We'd have to open the strait. That would open immediately. So we're going to give this one shot. I'm in no hurry. Ideally, I'd like to see few people killed as opposed to a lot. We can do it either way, but I'd like to see few people killed. I just wonder whether or not they have the good of the people, because some of the things they're doing to me means they don't have the good of the people, and they have to have the good of the people. There's a lot of anger now in Iran because people are living so badly. There's a lot of foment that we haven't seen before so much, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, and I think that's true because of the economic blockade. But then he was asked about, the timetable. What's the current timetable?
Did it take longer than you expected it would to make a deal with Iran?
Well, let's put it this way. You were in Vietnam 19 years, right? You were in Afghanistan and these other places 10 years. You were in Iraq. How long were you in Iraq? 12 years? You were in Korea for 7 years. World War II is different. That was 4 years. I'm in for 3 months, and much of it's been ceasefire.
All right. So your take on that, because, look, the time – he keeps saying that, and he offers that analogy. That doesn't fly with me for a guy that campaigned on not starting foreign wars and lower gas prices and helping the economy. I don't have the patience for Republicans who want to sound like Democrats, and I think the president's kind of lost his way on that issue. And I keep waiting for something to happen to finish the job, and it's not happening.
I think within a week we're going to know one way or the other. What he seemed to indicate both on that tarmac going to the Coast Guard commencement and again on the tarmac on the way back to the White House, he gave another availability. And what he basically said is, we're going to know in a day what this new deal is and whether the terms are acceptable. And if not, we're going this weekend. I gave them 2-3 days. They've got one shot. And we're going this weekend. So if we've got to blow them up again, fine, we blow them up again. But here's the thing that I'm going to give you news that is being reported all over open source channels online right now, inside Iran. While the squeeze is on, and we're complaining about $6 gas prices in California. I don't know what it's like in St. Louis, 4.5, something like that,
about
probably.
That, yeah. 430 maybe for regular unleaded.
Man, I'd almost kill for 4.5
I figured.
here. It's all relative, right? So while we're complaining about gas prices and getting impatient here, things are bad enough in Iran right now that there is reports today, for the first time in months, There is reports today. There's 3 military entities in Iran, right? There's the IRGC, which everybody knows about. Those are like the stormtroopers, right? You've got the Besiege Force, which is like their secret police that are on the streets in Tehran, and that's who the Brute Squad was to crack down on the last revolution, right?
Yeah.
The third is the Artesh, which is their regular army, okay? No one talks about the regular army much because they're just not regarded as much of an impact player here. However, today, in 4 different cities in Iran, parts of Tehran, Isfahan, Avaz, and Tabriz, there is open gunfire and shooting going on and gunfights happening between the Artesh, the regular military, which are not part of the regime forces, and the IRGC. So they're now attacking themselves. Nobody's getting paid. Everybody's getting angrier and upset because they can't afford food anymore. Their gas is being rationed. They have no medicine because 90% of what goes into their drug making, their pharmaceuticals, has to be imported.
Yeah, it's bad. Well, you could even hear in the cut that I played from Trump, he seems to think and hope, and I hope he's right about this, that all of this pressure internally is going to result in something positive.
Absolutely. That's what I think is going to happen in the next week.
Have a great Memorial Day weekend, Duane Patterson. Awesome to have you on.
You got it.
All right, take care.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Well, if you are leaving downtown on westbound 70, it's actually in pretty good shape. It slows at 141 and maybe some moderate volume here and there out through Wentzville. 64 is still lined up. This is Kings Highway out through past McCausland. Eastbound is slow at Timberlake Manor, and westbound picks up again, approaching Winghaven in pockets out through the 70 split. It's pretty slow on southbound 270 tonight. It's moderate volume approaching Olive, but it really picks up between Manchester and it goes down to about Gravois. 55 northbound, it looks like morning rush hour. It's all because of road work, and they've taken down the left lane right there as you head toward Bayless. On the Illinois side, we're fine on the Poplar Street Bridge. Slow eastbound 70 at 64, and then 64 eastbound jams headed for 157. That is due to road work. This report brought to you by Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. Call them for their 26-point tune-up. It's just one price for up to 3 garage doors and openers. Always look for the genuine, the original red ribbon. Schedule online at overheaddoorstlewis.com. I'm Sue Thomas. That's Traffic 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Susan L. Ward is a family practice attorney here in St. Louis. She's been a family practice attorney with a successful practice for decades. You can find her at stlfamilylaw.com. One of the things, and I don't point this out very often, but they do on that website a little blog section. And, when the laws change, and depending on what the law currently is, that can have an impact on your case with your kids. And she's got some really good updated pieces on that website about how the state Supreme Court has clarified third-party custody and visitation rights. You have some different, changes when it comes to equal parenting time and child support in Missouri. So you can even do a little research on your own and find out some information about that at stlfamilylaw.com. But more important than that is if you need help in that particular area of the law, Susan is outstanding. You're going to get that feeling, I think, the first time you talk to her or sit down with her. A beautiful office they've been in for a year now in De Pere, right near Manchester and 270. And the website, you can find out everything you need to about the team. Or call 314-783-9400, stlfamilylaw.com. The focus on family law, the emphasis on you, Susan L. Ward.
This is Congressman Bob Onder. Americans demanded border security, and House Republicans delivered. According to the Department of Homeland Security, for 10 consecutive months, U.S. Customs and Border Protection has reported 0 illegal aliens released at the border. I'm proud to have worked with the Trump administration to secure our southern border and uphold our immigration laws, and will keep fighting to advance strong policies that protect Missourians and keep America safe.
Paid for by official funds authorized by the House of Representatives.
A common question I receive is,
How is the market right now? It just seems so volatile. Hi, I'm Christina Straight, owner of Straight Realty. If you want to buy or sell but feel overwhelmed by the whiplash of the market, then let's talk. With over 23 years as a broker, I have the exact experience you need to help you navigate this tricky market. Call me at 314-441-4444. 314-441-all-4s. And remember, why pay more than two?
Commissions are not regulated and are negotiable. Straight Realty is a licensed broker in the state of Missouri.
Imagine this, a summer evening relaxing under a beautiful porch overhang, hosting your friends on a composite deck, or enjoying a bug-free breeze in a screened room. That sounds dreamy, right? Hi, it's Kim, and that dream can be your reality with Lakeside Renovation and Design because they specialize in creating outdoor spaces that make your backyard the go-to spot for family and friends. And with their attention to detail and the high-quality materials they use, you'll have a space that lasts for years. Visit lakesideRD.com today to get started on your outdoor oasis.
Men, need a clinic that accepts all insurance, including Medicare? U.S. Men's Medical Center in St. Peters does. U.S. Men's helps men experiencing loss of energy, focus, concentration, and low libido. And they accept all insurance, even Medicare, for testosterone replacement therapy. Patients love the staff and the fact that, yes, I'm going to say it again, they accept all insurance, including Medicare. Feel better? Call U.S. Men's Medical Center at 636-244-5333.
You're listening to The Mark Reardon Show, 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
More things related to politics that I wanted to touch on. We played the Tom Massey concession where he makes the I'll just play it again for those of you who might not have heard it because I have a good Scott Jennings reaction clip here. Here's what he said in a very unclassy way when he conceded last night.
I would have come out sooner, but I had to call my opponent and concede, and it took a while to find Ed Galrein in Tel Aviv. I did get the call through, though. I have called and conceded the race. We've been honorable the whole time.
No, you have not been honorable the whole time. And that's one of the reasons that Scott Jennings said this last night, because you're one of his congressmen in Kentucky.
Massey tonight in his concession speech said something despicable, anti-Semitic, nasty, gutter politics right at the end. What a way to go out. He said, I would have called Ed Galrein, but I had to find him in Tel Aviv. There was an undercurrent of anti-Semitism in this race on the Massey side. There's been an undercurrent of it in his career, unfortunately, and it really came out in an ugly way tonight. And I think it needs to be stated, acknowledged, and condemned because it was pretty despicable.
Sean Davis over at The Federalist, and he's been a guest on my show many times, wrote something, and I thought his take, although I don't agree with all of this, but I wanted to kind of run it down here because I think he gets most of this right. Why did Massey lose tonight? Massey went from principled libertarian during COVID to GOP leadership lapdog under McCarthy to anti-Trump Epstein obsessive in 2025 after tweeting about that issue a whopping 3 times in the decade prior. That's kind of interesting. He did become obsessed with the Epstein files. The nail in the coffin for him was voting against the big, beautiful bill in 2025 because, according to Massey, it did too much to secure the border. That's where I'm going to throw the red flag on Sean. He did vote against it, and that's true, but I can't find any information that Tom Massey said something that it, did too much to secure the border. But the rest of the history here, I think, is relatively accurate because he said Trump mercilessly trashed Massey in 2020, calling him a disaster for America and Kentucky, saying he should be thrown out of the GOP entirely. But this was interesting because in 2020, Tom Massey won big, 81-19. That is a big. Now that was in a primary, but still. You can't say he only lost because of Trump. He went toe-to-toe with Trump on COVID in 2020, and he won overwhelmingly. But this time, he went from being perceived as a quirky but lovable nerd who seemed to genuinely believe everything he said to looking like a clout-chasing influencer who cared more about getting TV time with Democrats on an issue that he clearly never cared about until 5 minutes ago than he did about representing his voters in Kentucky. We'll never know what caused the apparent personality change. Maybe it was the death of his wife. Maybe it was the McCarthy race followed by the McCarthy ouster, or maybe it was a desire for notoriety or media acclaim and a lucrative podcasting career outside of Congress. But the drastic change was undeniable, as was the seeming lack of interest in much of anything happening in Kentucky. Blame Trump, blame Israel, blame Epstein, blame the tragic death of a spouse. I don't care. But you cannot just wave away the 2020 Massey going face-to-face with Trump and winning in a rout only to get smoked 6 years later, Massey's voters didn't really change that much. He did, and they noticed.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
We do have a slow go on southbound 270 right now, and this is from Olive down through almost Gravois. There was an accident reported down there that is to blame. Northbound 55 still a slow go at Bayless. We've got road work with the left lane down in the construction zone. Now 44 westbound has been slowing in front of the Arch grounds tonight. We've got 70 eastbound slowing at 64 on the Illinois side. Still a jam eastbound 64 at 255 over there as well. Now southbound 170 slowing headed for 64. And if you are eastbound on 40, it's a slow go. Headed into downtown tonight, and this starts just east of 270 through Big Bend, and then it opens up and looks fine. Now, westbound out west is slowing. It's mainly Winghaven in pockets out through 70. 70 looks better than that. I'm Sue Thomas, and that's traffic. 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
So you weren't in here at the start there, but I did run down because during Sue's News, we were talking about Nashville getting the Super Bowl, and I even said something about that's unusual because it's an open-air stadium. We kind of forgot, and we were reminded by the listeners gently that they are building a dome in Nashville, right?
Yeah, and it's supposed to be finished in February of 2027, and they started this in February of 2024. Anyway, it's going to have 60,000 seats. It's adjacent to the current Nissan Stadium.
Mm-hmm.
And here's what I think is cool. They're going to have a roof, like a retractable, but it will be clear so you can see.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting. There has to be something that's going to maybe take the glare out for people that are sitting in the sun. I don't know. I want to find out more, but you're right. The timetable on that is, I think, a little quicker than a lot of the dome stadiums. But an update on that. So that makes more sense, and it's 2030 when they're getting the Super Bowl. Banner Construction is a great company that celebrated 30 years in business. I can't believe it was already 3 years ago. So they're 33 years in business as a St. Louis home remodeler, dealing with some of the best products in the country and some of the most respected brands like James Hardie fiber cement siding and Pella replacement windows. The Hardie siding is amazing. They have some flyover videos and some other things. You can learn a lot about the siding if you go to the website at bannerconstruction.com. But why do all that? Let's bypass that. Let's assume that you want to make your home look like the best looking home in the neighborhood and you want to upgrade your siding or your windows. Just get on the horn with Banner. It's a free in-home design consultation. They'd love to come over, take a look at your project, give you an estimate, and then these are big projects, so you got to do a little planning, got to move forward, but they're going to take great care of you, and your home is going to look fantastic. You want some actual proof of that? Go to the website, click on the showcase. You'll see homes in the St. Louis area that have been just magically transformed with the team at Banner and with those great products that I mentioned. BannerConstruction.com to get started today, 314-569-1050, and have a banner day.
The ACA Marketplace has announced significant increases on their monthly premiums for 2026, with deductibles over $10,000. You can enroll with Greg Hammond's Freedom of Choice plans now. You don't have to wait. One of their plans lets you use any doctor, has zero outpatient deductibles, and it's 30 to 60% lower costs than most Obamacare plans. Other options are full coverage PPOs with national networks, copays, and 100% annual preventative care. Also, there's no income disclosure required, so no potential tax penalties. If you pay for your own health insurance, you're uninsured, you're on COBRA, or your employer coverage is just too expensive, call Greg and they'll provide all available options. Call 314-794-7784. That's 314-794-7784. Or go to greghammonds.com. That's greghammonds.com. He can custom design a plan managed and chosen by you, not the government.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
And this portion of the show on a Wednesday is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
From the gateway to the airwaves. 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
I arguably had my next guest on a lot more back when I was reviewing movies. We would kind of match notes. Sometimes he would fill in for Paul Hall on Fridays. He's an outstanding critic, Christian Toto from Hollywood and Toto.com, but he's also really good on the culture issues, and I've been wanting to get him back on the air for a little while here, and something that he wrote caught my attention. He contributes, not unlike Duane, at hotair.com. Christian, how are you this afternoon? Good to hook up with you again.
Good to be back. Thanks.
On the movie front, I find this kind of interesting. We can get into some culture stuff in a second, but I, don't get out to the theater as much as I used to when I was doing junkets and going out to Hollywood and doing all that stuff. I got a little worn out by all the preaching that you highlight all the time in the liberal, movie world. But I did love Project Hail Mary, and I told people that was just a good old-fashioned fun time at the movies, and they should go see it. And then I find a column that you wrote about the Rocky character, which is kind of the alien, and I don't want to give too much away for people who haven't seen it, but you're telling me that character could potentially be up for Best Supporting Actor?
Yeah, it's a very strange situation. If you haven't seen the movie, it's even hard to describe.
Right.
But there are sort of a unique set of rules in Hollywood with the Academy that would make that performance potentially eligible. It's quite a stretch. And, given the fact that AI is the threat that's facing Hollywood, we're worried about that, and AI actors, and Val Kilmer's coming back to life, so to speak, with a new film, virtually, obviously. Yeah, it's an uncomfortable question, but, I think we've also seen things in recent years that are more conventional in a way. Think about the cast of Avatar. What they're doing is motion capture, imaging and technology, but they're performing, and they're providing the voices, and you're providing the emotions, and it's getting a little trickier, a little stickier in a way to kind of figure out what's a great performance.
Yeah, because look, the AI stuff is real. We highlight it all the time. I can understand how certainly people who make their living in creative ways like that are going to be worried. But that's why this kind of surprised me, that all of a sudden they had some sort of pathway for that character. And, Sue hasn't seen the movie, so we don't give too much away. But if you've seen the movie, you'll say, wait a second, how is that even possible that they would do that? But we'll see. That doesn't automatically mean anything, right? That anyone's going to get a nomination. But even just creating the path is somewhat unique.
It is, yeah. I think voters will take a longer time to process that and reward that kind of performance. So I don't think it'll happen overnight, but maybe we'll look back in a few years and go, oh yeah, that's why this happened.
So did you see, I'm hearing bad things, and I like The Mandalorian, but have you seen the movie, the Grogu movie?
Yeah, I watched the first 2 seasons of The Mandalorian. I really enjoyed it. I thought it felt Star Warsy. I know it's not a word, but I'm using it as a word. And it was one of the few kind of post-George Lucas and Disney confections where I thought, okay, I get it. I can see where this could go. I had no problem with it. It felt like it was an adventure. I like Pedro Pascal. I love Sigourney Weaver, who's got a small but important role in the film. It's just junk. Listen, the new movie is very busy. Kids will love it. It never stops moving. Tons of action, lots of characters. Some are cute, some are scary. There's busy stuff happening, but it's nearly brain dead. There's no character arc anywhere to be seen. The dialogue, they say that with Netflix movies now, you have to repeat the themes because people are like, doing laundry and cooking and stuff. It's got that kind of dialogue, and it's embarrassing. It really is embarrassing. Listen, this is Jon Favreau, the director and co-writer, who gave us Elf and Iron Man and Swingers and lots of great projects. He's very talented.
Chef. How's it going?
I don't know what this movie is. I really don't.
Yeah, that's weird, but it'll probably make $1 gazillion, right? Because it's a holiday weekend and it's a kid's movie. No?
It's tracking lower than most Star Wars films. There's not a lot of enthusiasm for it. It's going to make some money. I don't know how much, and I'll be very curious to get the word of mouth in this one.
Interesting.
Listen, I didn't like it, but we'll see.
All right. Hey, let's talk about, because I never liked Stephen Colbert, but he's going away this week, right? And everyone's been shining a light on him. I never really got him from the very get-go. I never thought he was funny, on The Daily Show, and then he gets his late night show. And at first it was more of a standard late night, comedy show. And if I remember, he was getting smoked in the ratings in the early days, wasn't he? Wasn't Kimmel and Fallon just killing him? There was even talk. I remember having some discussions that he might not even keep the gig at the time. I don't know how real those were, but then he shifted into the anti-Trump territory, and that was his lane, I guess, and he never stopped that. But farewell to Stephen Colbert. Christian, what would you say about his run?
Not riddance, but good riddance. Yeah, it's been rough. And listen, I don't think he has talent, he has ability, he's shown it in the past. He's a professional comedian. He's good at what he does to a degree. And also, to survive in the late night format is very, very hard. There's big stars who have not been able to accomplish that. But his show, like most shows, are very predictable. They're one note. They're angry. It's not about humor and comedy. And, not even just the monologues, but just inviting all these different Democratic politicians on the show. Listen, there are a few politicians who could be charming and witty. I think Ted Cruz is actually pretty funny. Actually, Al Gore was surprisingly dry and droll at times, even though on the campaign trail he never was that guy. But generally speaking, if you've got a politician on your late night show, it's not a laugh riot. It's not entertaining. It's there for political purposes. And that's what the show has turned into. And, there's other good stuff there. There are other comedians who pop on and musical acts and things. But he's become very much of a lecture. They call it clapter, where it's not funny. It's just basically telling you the jokes with the targets you want to hear and the targets that you don't like either. So that's what he's become. That's his legacy. And it's not a great one.
It's kind of sad because, look, I'm all for, even if it's political humor, I can laugh at things. If you're going to make fun of Trump or Republicans in certain ways, I can still, think some of that is funny. But what they do and when I say they, I think Jimmy Kimmel, of course, has fallen into this as well, and some of these other comedians. And I love the fact that, Bill Maher calls these guys out at times, but they feel like, I guess, they're so self-important. Kimmel's been really bad on this, and he's got a wife that's here from St. Louis, so we like to talk about Jimmy and make fun of him every once in a while. But I think they feel emboldened by this because they know that so much of the left is cheering them on. I long for the days of when I would, I'd record all these shows and I'd look for the opening monologue and the funny stuff, and maybe I'd pull some audio from a guest or a musical artist, and that's been years since I've even felt the need to watch any of them, Fallon, Kimmel, or Colbert, Christian. I guess times have changed with streaming and everything, but I don't know how any of them survive at this point.
Yeah, revenue's down, ratings are down, generally speaking, although I think Kimmel might get a boost when Colbert goes away. But I think what you mentioned is really, it's something that doesn't get mentioned enough. It's the self-important nature, the smugness, the I need to speak truth to power. No, you need to entertain us. You need to be funny and witty and charming and just kind of gently let us drift off to sleep. And, you can go political with that. You can certainly do that. It really doesn't come across well when you're political and you're self-satisfied and you're speaking truth to power and you ignore one of the major two parties. It doesn't work. It just doesn't work.
And I mentioned, I know that you've written about Bill Maher because he's been surprising in many ways when it comes to his coverage of, politics and the culture issues. And even as you remind us, look, he wrote a movie, he made a movie called Religulous, right? That kind of mocked organized religion. And now he's coming to the defense of Jews, right?
God bless Bill Maher. We're living in a time where major politicians are shouting and spreading anti-Semitic thoughts without anyone blinking. That's where we are in the culture. And yet Bill Maher is one of the only late night comedian who's really calling out. He did a monologue a couple days ago on his Real-Time show on HBO Max. That was just stunning. And I have to say, I wish it were funnier because I always like comedians to be funny. That's kind of the shtick. But it was spot on. It was serious. It was sober. There were some sort of laugh lines within it for sure. But it was really necessary. And listen, if you're Stephen Colbert or Jimmy Kimmel or Seth Meyers and you're ignoring this issue, shame on you. Shame on you. You should use your platforms and your comedic talents to call this out because this is a very bad thing that's happening in our culture. And Bill Maher did just that.
So, by the way, on the Bill Maher topic, did you see the bit that he did with David Cross on the trans debate that went a little viral a couple weeks ago?
Yeah, that was from Club Reardon, his podcast. I think I saw or heard or read much of that.
Yeah, it was interesting. And, he's obviously taking a strong stand on that issue, and it's a sane stand. And I think what Bill's done is what a lot of us have done to encourage people just to maybe use common sense. But I bring it up, and I mentioned this earlier, Christian. You've covered culture and politics long enough to know this name. Barney Frank passed away at the age of, I think it was, let me see, because he wasn't that old, actually.
86,
86, yeah. So, as you know, Barney Frank represented Massachusetts from 81 to 2013 in Congress. He was the first openly gay member of any, I think of the House or the Senate, of any politician in Washington. And he was in hospice care, so he knew he was going to die, and he basically did this deathbed, if you will, interview with someone from the New York Times. And I read it earlier today after I found out that he had passed away, and even on that issue, a gay man who fought for gay people's rights and didn't ever play the victim card, like a lot of these trans people do, he pointed out that issue for Democrats and how tough it is because, as he I'm just paraphrasing here, it's a 90-10 issue, and people need to come around on some of this stuff. Now, he said this in a more diplomatic way, if you will, with the New York Times, but when a guy like that even comes out and says on his deathbed, hey, Democrats, you're going to get your asses kicked if you don't turn around on some of this crazy stuff.
Yeah, what he is what Bill Maher is what maybe Rob Schneider is. These are kind of classical liberals who have shifted more to the right because the left has shifted more to the left. And it's a really weird time. You have someone like Barney Frank, and it was brave of him to say that. He knew he was dying soon,
right.
and he shared thoughts that are going to antagonize a lot of people on his side. And I'm sure it did just that. But he's right. He's right. This is really... It's hard to process some people embracing these kinds of views. I wish no one ill. I don't have any anger or enmity toward people who are trans. I wish them well. I think it must be an incredibly challenging situation to live through. But, when you've got a trans girl fighting against biological females in a sport, it ain't fair.
No.
It's just not fair. And we've got to call it out.
Yeah, and that's
where I don't know what the solution is, but it's bad. It's bad.
An overwhelming number of Democrats believe that as well. Christian Toto, you can find him at HollywoodInToto.com. Always great to have you on. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Take care. Audio cut of the day coming up.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Well, we've had some issues on the roads. Things are looking pretty much better. At least on southbound 55, that has thinned out. But we still have a jam northbound because of an extra lane down, and that is really close to Bayless. Now, there is an accident reported on southbound 21, really near Suisun Hills Drive, and it has created a huge jam behind it. Now, southbound 270, thinning out, but still a slow go between 64 and Doherty Ferry. We've got eastbound 6440 as drivers head into downtown tonight, slowing east of 270 through Big Bend, and then it looks fine. So if you're headed to the ball game, it should be okay. At westbound 40, most of the volume there is past Winghaven in spots out through 70. 70 isn't bad. And we look good on the bridges downtown. I'm Sue Thomas. That's Traffic 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Fred reminding me, Sue, that tomorrow on the show we'll have Curtis Halcon from Newsbusters, and we will say our proper farewell to Stephen Colbert. We're actually loaded up tomorrow. We have Scott Jennings on the show, and you are certainly someone who would recognize the musical name of Graham Parker. I'm certain. Graham Parker's coming to the Wildey in Edwardsville on Friday night. I'm a huge fan, have been since, late 1970s. It's been 50 years since he released his first album in 1976. So he's kind of on a little bit of an anniversary tour, if you will.
Cool.
And Graham's going to join us tomorrow night at 5:30. So I'm very excited about that. Hey, if you are looking for a mortgage, and we talk about Stewart's American Mortgage, Stewie, all the time, a lot of the advantages to the bagel loan. He's got an incredible deal for you if you're buying a home. And this is it, 1% discount on your 30-year rate for the first year. So for the first year of your new loan, when you buy a home, you lock in a 1% lower interest rate on that new 30-year loan, and you still get the bagel loan, so there's no closing costs. So this is an incredible offer, and you want to get with Stewie to take advantage of it. One of the other advantages that he has, and we brag about it because it's true, he can close you very quickly. So you may be in a situation with even bids that are perhaps a little higher than yours, but if you say, look, I can close in 10 days, that seller may go with your offer, and Stewie's going to make it easy for you. So one thing that you need to do when you negotiate, you might have to show approval for a higher loan value. He's going to show you how you can change your own pre-approval letter. A lot of advantages to the bagel loan. The great offer for the first year with a 1% discount is right now in out there on the table. So Google the bagel loan or call or text Stewie. We give you his cell phone number, 314-324-4440, 324-4440. Stewart's American Mortgage, NMLS number 226715.
Hey, it's Annie. Grab your clubs and head to Tamarack Golf Course on Friday, May 22nd for the St. Clair County Republicans annual golf tournament. Shotgun start, 18 holes, carts, contest, lunch, and great prizes. Learn more at 971talk.com/events.
Big trucks, big damage. And when you're the one left injured, you need someone who knows how to take on the trucking companies and win. You need Kaufman Townsley. Our attorneys live and work right here in St. Louis. We act fast, we dig deep, and we don't back down. Trucking accidents are serious, and so are we. Kaufman Townsley. Real people, real results. Call 314-777-7777.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
ZipRecruiter. Gentlemen, Mark Cox here. When's the last time you actually felt like yourself? Victory Men's Health specializes in hormone optimization, sexual health, weight loss, and longevity. It's built for everyday men who just want to feel better and perform their best. They already have offices in Town and Country, Sunset Hills, O'Fallon, Missouri, and O'Fallon, Illinois. They're about to open a new location in Glen Carbon very soon. It's a higher standard of care just waiting for you. Learn more at victorymenshealth.com.
Nothing makes a gathering great like Eggland's Best Eggs. They're just so delicious with better nutrition, too. For us, it's eggs any style, as long as they're the best. Eggland's Best. Better taste, better nutrition, better eggs.
You're listening to The Mark Reardon Show on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
All right, we have audio cut of the day coming up here in just a couple of minutes. And tomorrow's show, as I mentioned, we're loaded up. Scott Jennings will be here. He's going to see the Cardinals this weekend in Cincinnati,
Nice.
which will be fun. But we'll also have singer-songwriter, rock star Graham Parker. He's awesome. And Curtis will be here. Curtis out from Newsbusters to say our fond farewell to Stephen Colbert. So, Sue, I think you'll like this story. You saw a little bit of it on Fox, and I pulled it up from the New York Post. We've seen all these near misses at airports. We've had some very, very bad tragedies. At LaGuardia today, something a little different, but I think this is kind of scary too. They found a sinkhole on the runway at LaGuardia today at 11 o'clock in the morning. It was discovered near runway 422 as the Port Authority conducted its daily morning inspection of the airfield. Apparently they have those, which maybe makes you feel a little bit better. The runway was quickly shut down as emergency construction and engineering crews descended on the site to complete repairs and determine the cause of the sinkhole as quickly and as soon as possible. I mean, that's kind of, a little scary. And they did have some flights that were canceled and stuff like that.
Can you imagine? Why is your flight canceled? Well, there's a sinkhole on the runway.
But think about what the implications of that could have been. Like if they don't, I don't know, I'm glad to hear they do a daily check. But if something even buckles and, you're coming down for landing with landing gear, that's going to be a problem, right?
Oh, my gosh, yes.
Unreal. It really is. I thought that story was interesting, so we'll see where that takes us. But they had some Fox cameras and stuff that were out there kind of taking a look at that situation. All right, I got a couple of things here. I kind of blew through my my good audio today for audio cut of the day, so I'm not exactly sure what to do here, Sue. But we'll figure it out.
Stand by.
Playback ready.
Now, the audio cut of the day.
I played some of the Tom Massey audio, and I don't want to give him any more attention at all because I say good riddance. I didn't really understand what he was all about, and he was very confusing to Kentucky voters. So he's going bye-bye, and Trump is celebrating, certainly. But we haven't really talked about Ed Gallery, who was the guy that beat him last night, and here he is.
Now my focus is on advancing the president's and the party's agenda to put America first and Kentucky always.
Yeah, so he's the winner, and, that's in a seat that's very safe for Republicans. So no matter who the Democrat is, it really doesn't matter because he's going to win that race. Now, Andy Barr is the guy that won last night. He's a congressman. He's going to seek the seat, and he will be eventually the winner of the seat that Mitch McConnell is giving up.
Thank you, Mr. President, for your powerful support. I look forward to fighting alongside you to advance our America First agenda and deliver for Kentucky in the United States Senate.
Again, I think Kentucky is pretty safe, but there's a lot of districts out there that aren't safe. And I saw some numbers that were flashed up on the Fox screen as I was sitting here doing my show today about approval numbers. And, approval numbers when it comes to the economy and all those things, they're not looking good for Republicans right now. Now, since we had so much fun sports-wise last night in this city, let's use a little of that for our audio cut of the day. Yay! City won in overtime. They're in the semifinals of what they call the Open Cup.
Number 16, Hector Herrera, up to shoot for Houston. Small run up. He shoots and Lute! Diamond save! That's it! Ben Lute got the club going up on a Tuesday!
Yeah!
Into the Open Cup semi! They bombed the backup keeper! In the first half for an injured Berkey! Lute stops an all-time legend!
Joey Zamboni having a little fun there.
Joey.
And then, of course, the Cardinals last night. They blow it in the ninth inning. They go to the bottom of the 10th, and
Montgomery working from the stretch. The pitch to Herrera is hit deep to left field. Herrera has just won it with a walk-off big fly into the Pirates bullpen. And the crowd is going nuts here at Busch Stadium. A 3-run home run for Herrera, his 5th of the year, and everybody waiting to meet him at home plate.
Ricky Horton with an awesome
Love
call.
it.
I mean, I don't know how long all this is going to last, but the fun factor with this St. Louis Cardinals team and Tarps Off is off the charts right now.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
We've got a jam on, of all things, northbound 55 at Bayless, just like its morning commute. And this is because they've taken you down to one lane by Bayless, and it really has caused a delay. Also, the accident on southbound 21, really near Suisun Hills Drive, has caused a massive delay there. But southbound 270 is thinning out nicely. And if you're going to tonight's Cardinals game, there's some volume, but it's approaching Lindbergh through Big Bend, and then it opens up. On the Illinois side, eastbound 64 is really jammed at 255. That due to road work. I'm Sue Thomas, and that's traffic. 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Well, I want to guide you into an outstanding experience if you're looking for flooring here in the St. Louis area. And I know this personally because I've had this experience with the team from Michael's Flooring Outlet here in St. Louis. Mike Reynolds has been doing this since he was 26 years old. He's got a lot of passion for what he does. He's got a lot of knowledge and expertise, and that's something that is really needed when it comes to, what might be in your home for, a decade, a couple of decades, you just don't know. You want the most advanced technologies in flooring. They can make that happen for you, whether they're waterproof technology, pet-proof, easy to clean, carpeting, and hard flooring, and they got you covered in all different price points. This is one thing that I discovered when I did this project with Mike and the team about a year and a half ago, because I was worried about a budget. I'm cheap, and we're looking at the products. I'm like, this is beautiful. You're going to put this in for this price point, and the whole project will be done within the budget. Yep, they did it. They knocked it out of the park. Customer service experience, great. They do fine work here with 3 locations open every day except for Sunday. They're online at igotfloor.com. In the stores, St. Peter's, Darien Prairie, and in West County on Olive. Tell them that we sent you in, igotfloor.com.
Don't get lulled into believing the IRS is getting soft. It's just the opposite. Hi, this is Lance Drury with the Lance Drury Law Firm. We are being told by